you for your patience.
No, thank you.
So I had sort of an exciting, fun idea to do things a little bit differently tonight. And so for your patience,
Uh,
what I would like to do is I'd like to open the floor to hearing from all the participants about what your experiences have been like, anything you feel like sharing over the last few days. I know last night kind of blew my mind, and I spent most of today just sort of processing the amazing information that came through for you all around health and healing and how stars astrology can actually reveal things that I knew it could do, but it wasn't until Odie, you put me on the spot and you said, Lotus, I'm not going to tell you what the health issue is. And I had a moment of extreme terror of like, oh my God, is this going to work? But my higher self was fine the whole time. It was a weird combination of complete faith and also a human response of, is it going to work? I don't know. So I just wanted to open the floor. If anyone felt like they wanted to talk or share some of their experiences, maybe share with others what your experience has been like over the last, gosh, it'll be 3 days. So this is the fourth night. And then we're going to open the floor to some other discussion and exploration. But anyone feel like sharing? Is anyone in that space? Or we can come back to this as well. Depends on how your Thursday has been so far. Thor day, Jupiter day, a lot of expansion on Thursdays. Yeah, go ahead. Jump right in.
Um, is
Yeah,
there somebody else there? No?
yeah, no,
Yeah, yesterday you were talking about the medical part in the parts of the body,
no.
and there was Chiron, which you mentioned when you did some readings.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about Chiron, and since it has to do with our wounds. I
Yes,
think it's just as important as our wound for life, as important as our wounds that we get in this life through
yes.
when we get sick or accidents or so how can we learn from Chiron in our
Yeah.
charts?
Yeah, that's so interesting you bring that up. I really discovered the power of Chiron over the last 2 years working with clients. And I found that when I would talk to people about the sign that their Chiron was in and the house, that I would invariably, that person might start crying or they might get very triggered or upset, as though I had just touched a real live wound, like you were saying. And so it was after discovering that I looked at my own Chiron in my chart, and I had kind of one of those aha moments because where I have Chiron was directly related to my lifelong health challenge or health issue. Yeah. And I remember the moment. I remember the moment I was outside and I'd been reading about Chiron and I looked at my own chart and I just had one of those epiphany moments, like a soul deep knowing that the issue I'd been dealing with my whole life was probably lifetime long. And so I began working on it and the growth I've had, and it's around my throat and it's around speaking. Yeah. And so the growth I've had in the last year, with my YouTube channel and growing it and speaking every day, sharing this information, there's no way I would have been doing that if I hadn't had that moment of awareness and cognition that the issue I'd been dealing with, like it was somehow like a bridging of the gap between, yes, I have this pain, I have this issue with the throat, and then looking at the astrological chart and realizing, oh, it was almost like the moment I saw that in my chart, something happened, like gears engaged and energy started moving just by even knowing and acknowledging that the Chiron was in that sign. I was like, really? That's all needs to happen at first? Just even that acknowledgement gets the gears moving. And I'm sure from several of you who were here last night that you may have noticed that even just talking about Chiron might have started stimulating or bringing things to the surface. It might have already started a healing. And so what is Chiron exactly? Well, Chiron relates to Greek mythology. Chiron is the energy of the wounded healer. And so Chiron was the doctor that all of the ancient Greek mythological heroes would send their children to. So think like Hercules or think Perseus or think, the great heroes of Greek mythology. They would go to see Chiron to learn, to be tutored, to study history, to study art, to study herbology and healing. And so Chiron was the original OG healer. Like he was the guy. And so what happened was that Chiron got wounded by a poisoned arrow. And he was part immortal, so he couldn't die, right? He couldn't die. And so he was suffering with this extreme pain every single day from this wound that he could not heal, but he could not die. Okay. And so eventually he really got tired of this and he decided to give his life up for Prometheus. And so Prometheus was another Greek hero who had taken, another immortal who had taken fire from the gods to the people. Ironically, that's also what the software that I use is named after. Interesting synchronicity there. Okay. And so Chiron felt this compassion for Prometheus because Prometheus brought fire to the humans, to us. He got punished by the gods, and his punishment was that he was chained to the top of a rocky ledge. And every day an eagle would come and eat his liver every single day. And so he's just like, like up on the top of the mountain, just suffering in agony every single day. And Chiron was like, this is whack. Like, this is just wrong. Like, I'm here suffering with my arrow. I can't heal it, right? He couldn't heal it. He was the healer that couldn't heal his wound, right? And so that's kind of that mythos of it. And so he said, take my life instead. He gave his life for Prometheus. Prometheus was released, and that is how Chiron was placed into the starry sky, right? And so Chiron speaks to that place within us that hurts. Literally, like it hurts. It effing hurts. Like, no joke, I'm not going to mince matters, right? And it speaks to the idea that even the greatest healers amongst us have this wound, right? Something in us that we are working to heal. And if you talk to most healers, right? Most healers became healers because they were healing something. Some of them have made a lot of progress. Some just keep going, helping others because that is the only way to survive what they're dealing with and what they're going through. Okay. And so wherever we have Chiron in our charts, whatever sign, whatever house, it relates to what our deepest wounding is and what has felt unhealable. It's like, I want to heal this thing, and you're just frustrated. You can't seem to. And that's what Chiron is that depth of frustration. I'm getting dramatic because I really want to touch on that place. Okay. Because we all have that place. We do. We all have, and it's usually very different for each of us. One person, it might be people not using their turn indicators when they drive. Other people, it might be around sharing their truth, right? Other people, it might be stepping into authority and leadership, might be that place where they just have this vulnerability. Okay. And so I'm really glad, Anna, you brought that up. I really wanted to let today be organic and kind of let you all guide the class more. I've been doing a lot of guiding, and I was like, okay, let's let's relinquish the reins a little bit here and allow some of your questions to guide today a bit more. Okay. So that is Chiron. And so whatever sign we have Chiron in, so this is important, whatever element it's in. So is it in water? Is it in fire? Is it in earth, or is it in air? That's going to be very powerful for knowing what kind of energy we have this sensitivity to. Now, unlike Chiron and the the dramatic Greek mythology. The Greek stories, like they often don't end well. I don't know if you've studied them at all, but there's a lot of drama in Greek mythology. And so I like to take their Chiron story and then I've added a few more lines to it. And the lines that I'll add is that I think that everything is healable. I don't think that we are destined to sit here suffering tied to a rock or whatever for eternity. Okay, going through the same trauma over and over again. I think that we can utilize the information of the oracle of the sidereal astrology chart to reveal the issue, to illuminate the space where that issue lives. And then through our love, awareness, attention, and then whatever modalities, do you realize we live in the era of a healing smorgasbord? It's like every day I'm learning a radical healing method that shifts DNA and it shifts our ancestral patterning and it's based on the heart, it's constantly evolving. And so we live in this smorgasbord of healing. And I sense, I perceive that many of you have chosen this lifetime to finally heal some of these really deep core lifetime after lifetime challenges. And so I'm really glad you brought up Chiron, because one of the things that may be in the way of our success or fulfillment, our just joy, can be this placement of Chiron in our chart. And it can be kind of like that splinter in our foot that we're just like everything is so great, but there's that one splinter and it hurts. I get that thing out, right? And so by revealing that Chiron, we start the process. Odie, let me ask you a question, because last night I got to tell you, so you've had about 24 hours to process, which is not nearly enough time for what we started to open with you last night. But in the last 24 hours since I've shared with you that your Chiron is in Pisces, which is the water, which is flow, which is intuition. What has come up for you? What have you noticed? Do you want to share with us any ahas? Have there been any like expansions, more lightness? Just curious if you're open to sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be honored to answer. Well, just a quick capsule. When my accidents kept falling in the stairs and tripping was the year of the pandemic, like I was saying, that we were restricted in our movements. And I was just on the point, I was just newly retired in March, and starting June and November, the two accidents in the stairwell happened. And I was just on the point of saying, do I leave my life here and go to where my heart is always full of joy and wellness, which is at the ocean? And I'm getting goosebumps. And yes, no, maybe I should keep a place here and just rent somewhere on seasonal, like a snowbird. Look, we're in Maine. I've got a turtleneck on because it's cold and damp. I'm not an indoor person. I'd love to be outdoors all the time. So it's just like maybe the healing that I need, since you've just confirmed a water element, is that my injury maybe happened. I'm trying to reason like why. The water element, the injury is there, and the healing is in the same element where my heart, my soul would love to be actually. So I think that was one big thing to say. Well, probably this winter, like now summer's coming, where we have nice climate here, but still I'm always by the water, the spa, the pool, the lake, always outdoors, watering my plants, having my feet and my hands in the earthing. But the water is definitely a huge element. And I know, I was just looking at your chart when you sent it to me, that I had like, I don't know, like eight or 10 elements in Pisces, all water. So I'm saying there's a big weight on it, like, and it's obsessive with the water thing. So just looking at it, I wanted to go more in depth, and that was going to be what my question was going to be for you tonight. Or we can just pause here if you wanted to think. And I guess, look, I did my homework. I've got all these questions.
I love
so
it.
We could go eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
But
I want to go with the first one. So I think the rest maybe I could figure out on my own. So I'll let you to continue our conversation, but I would like to bring one question that I think would probably solve a lot of my other
Of course.
interrogations.
Of course. No, I love that.
Does that make sense? Do you think that's flow in the
If anyone knew how to flow, Odie, it would be
yeah.
you with 8
Yeah.
in Pisces. And, I'm just blown away that, when we asked the question last night, okay, well, what is the root of this health issue? And I looked at your chart, and the first thing I saw was that you had 8 things in Pisces. And we had just gone over how the astrology signs relate to the body parts, right? And so I
Exactly.
fresh in my mind that Pisces relates to the feet. And so I just said feet, and you were just like, oh, and I was like that too, kind of, because it's amazing when the synchronicity of the astrology lines up to your experiences. And so amazingly, you also have Chiron in Pisces. So, that's like a double, that's two balls in the barrel in terms of looking at, okay, feet might be the issue here, right? Because you have that wounded healer vibration as well as so many planets. And when you have a lot of planets in one sign, there can very easily be a tendency to have a sensitivity in that sign body part, right?
Yes.
So very good information for all of you out there with your charts to just even begin to count, okay, which sign do I have the most planets in? It's a bit like a game, And so knowing what that is, knowing first what element your Chiron is in is huge. And then seeing if there's any synchronicity between the sign that your Chiron is in and the other planets, either the same sign or the opposite sign, that can start to give you more of a story. Okay. So I think for now we're gonna wait with your beautiful questions because they're coming very soon here. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna start class officially that we started already with the question, and we're gonna just do our little introduction about what day we're in here, just to help me get grounded, and just welcome everyone to class. Okay. And so we'll do a little bit of review just to sink ourselves into the day. Right. And I really, when I created this class, I wasn't entirely sure the full focus. And it came to me that this chart is an oracle. As we were starting our class and going into it, that this chart, our True the Stars Sidereal Astrology chart, is like an oracle of the soul that unlocks for us secrets and mysteries that are living within our chart around our identity, around our biggest like soul wounds, like Chiron, around our purpose, what is our highest expression, around wealth, around identity. And so I wanted to make tonight available for all of you to ask any questions based on any arena that I've mentioned so far. So finding wealth in your chart, finding where you have Chiron, finding out about deeper questions about health, right? So I wanted the framework of tonight to just be around allowing you all to have some time with your charts to ask me some questions in a more open atmosphere. Because at the end of the day, we all are just trying to know more of who we are, aren't we? We're just all trying to get in touch with who we are so that we can be more of who we are meant to be. And that's what this is here for. Okay, so I just want to welcome everyone to this magical oracle, this magical symbol that is contained within each chart, all the symbols that reveal information, just like the movie The Golden Compass, when the girl spins her compass and gets information about this is the right way or this is the wrong way or there's danger here or be careful here. Our chart has a similar power and ability. And so maybe at some point I'll put a little clip from the Golden Compass to show you it in action. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Okay. So remember, millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. Okay. And so what you hold in your hands may seem unimportant, whatever, you could cast it aside, but for thousands of years, the rich, the wealthy, the kings and queens have utilized the path of the stars. Even if you think about Jesus and the three wise men, they were following a star. So the value of stars, the value of knowing where our stars are, is so profound and so, so powerful. And so I'm so glad that you're all here tonight. We are in kind of a powerful time with Venus, the billionaire planet, being in Aries. And I want to really honor all the divine feminine energy present here, because Venus is the divine feminine, and in Aries, it's leadership. And so if you're a divine goddess, or you are in touch with your feminine energy, but you're in a masculine body, there is a divine activation of the coming together of masculine and feminine, of action and feminine energy right now. And so as souls, I feel the divine feminine really wanting to rise up into this action energy around purpose, around direction, around leadership. And so I really want to encourage all the women who watch this replay and all the men who are really aligned to sensitivity and emotion and intuition, because those are the feminine qualities, to know that now is a very profitable time to take action on your leadership. That now is a very powerful time to lead with your feminine gifts, whether that's art or music or intuition. Okay, this is a powerful time for that. And so I'm so excited that you're all here so that we can coach and uplift and direct you towards where you want to go better, faster, with more clarity and direction. Okay. So we went over the last 3 days, the fact that the astrological chart, why it's so important is that it shows, this is Sri Yukteswar, it shows basically our karma from all our other lifetimes. And so Sri Yukteswar was the teacher of Paramahansa Yogananda. And this quote, I want it to just live in your hearts, that a child is born. Why is your chart so important? Why is it so powerful? A child is born on that day and at that hour when the celestial rays are in mathematical harmony with his or her individual karma. So every single time you look at your chart, every single time you look at someone else's chart, you're not just looking at words and colors and shapes and symbols. You are literally opening a divine gateway to their soul map. And so I really want to nurture that kind of respect, that kind of honoring, that kind of appreciation for what we're doing here. This is not just an average conversation. This is a bit like accessing the Akashic record, truly. As you learn the symbols and the signs and what they mean, you are learning the language of the stars, the energies, the patterns, the grids. And it's a divine gift that you're being given as you learn it. Not just from me, but from the universe that is opening your awareness to so many more possibilities. And so I just really want to anchor that in, how powerful that is and how beautiful it's going to be at the end of tonight. Just like every other day we've had so far, I swear I just left this call feeling so grateful, so happy, so illuminating. And truly, that is what we are going to do tonight, yet again. Okay. So here we go. Let's get into, there's my story. We went over that. Who is Lotus? We're going through the sidereal astrology chart here, which is based on the actual position of the stars, while tropical astrology is based on where the stars were. We're following the star system, which is accurate to the actual sky. Tropical astrology is based on where everything was 2,000 years ago. So we're staying accurate. We're staying current. This is a lovely testimonial from one of our past students, Sophie, one of my students who has a podcast now, actually. She's out sharing astrology with the world. It's pretty exciting. And she said, "Thank you, Lotus, for all this knowledge you are sharing with us. Every call with you is a blessing. After all these years, I'm finally starting to understand so many aspects of my life and having so many aha moments." And so she told me at the end of my last masterclass, she said, "I'm going to leave my work and do this full time." And I'm pretty sure that's what she's doing because she was so inspired by what's possible with this information. Okay, So we're following the actual size of the zodiacs. Does anyone have any questions about the 4 main points of an astrological chart? The AS, the IC, the DS, and the MC. Does anyone have any questions about those 4 points of the chart? Did you have a question, Odie?
It's in relation to that, but I don't know if you're going to cover. It's okay. We're on the sidereal system, and I tried to pull out a chart, and I don't know which application or website that maybe you could refer us to, because they give you all these options to choose whole house. I didn't jot down, like, it's a scroll down menu. There were so many different options, and I tried a few, and none resembled the one that you sent us. So I'd like to know if we can get access to how to generate it, to understand it more, because many of these symbols, I know the basic, like say the main, I don't know, 10 or 12 symbols, but some of these images and codes and like AO and things like this, I don't know what it is. And I'd like to like read it up and not take up all your time during the class task. Well, what's this one and what's that one? So we can explore our own chart more in depth, and perhaps people around us that were curious to know certain synchronicities together.
Yeah.
So that's a big question, but you know what I'm getting at?
I totally got it all. Yeah. So
Good.
I'm going to have access to a chart calculator probably in the next month or so that I'll be able to post for you all.
Nice.
How I make these charts is via Prometheus software. And so I should probably tell you that I am going to be leading a masterclass starting next week on the 17th of May. And I should probably tell you that if you wanted to sign up, I do offer a pretty awesome discount on that Prometheus software. So if you wanted to sign up to the course, you also get access to the software, and you'll get access to a lot of other things that I'll share with you all tomorrow, if you would like to hear about it.
Yes.
But I just wanted to give you an FYI about that. Because the software is really where it's at, in my opinion, because as many as there are free programs out there to generate these charts, the ability to access so many different dimensions of it and to make charts for others is amazing. With the ones out there that I think are free, they're very limited in terms of what you can actually do with it. Just very basic. Right. And they're not going to have any of these extra things, and they're a bit complicated. So in my opinion, I think that the software makers need to get busy and start making way more options for doing these True the Stars astrology charts, because it's a bit like hunting for a dinosaur. I mean, there's like one company that makes software, and that's Prometheus.
Okay.
So if you do want to get that software, I will be offering a sizable discount on it for those that sign up to the training. And it's amazing stuff. So I hope that answers your question. And ideally, I will have a very basic chart calculator up in the next month or so that I can offer you to be able to do that for yourself. In terms of things that you don't recognize in your chart, why don't you just send me a screenshot, and if you're able to circle the things, I can try and get you a list of what they are for now.
Okay, that would be great. Well, that was another question on my everlasting list, was if you were going to be offering either readings, because I tried to poke around in your website a little bit today, and to see if you had like one-on-one readings, or were you going to be offering some kind of more in-depth class? And what level does it bring you to be an astrologer?
Yes.
Or does it bring you to know yourself more?
Yes. So to answer all these questions, my website mysteriously vanished.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't find it today. I was going, okay. I thought my Wi-Fi went
I
down. I
don't
said, well,
know
I don't
what happened. It happened
Really?
about a week ago. I went to look up my website and it's gone. I went into my website builder and it was gone. And I just went,
Oh, wow.
okay. I've been planning to update my website for about 6 months now. So I just think the universe was saying it's time for you to update your website. That's it, period. You need to reformat it. That's Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn is structure. Aquarius is the new age and business. So I'm not at all surprised, to be honest, even though it is very bizarre. I do have a link for my masterclass that I will be sharing. And that is up, and it is at blossomwithlotus.com/masterclass, and it will be beginning next week. I was going to wait and share that information more in depth with you tomorrow, but if you want to go check it out before tomorrow, feel free, be my guest. It's going to come with quite a few bonuses in terms of sessions with me, access to a discount on the software, as well as 6 main trainings that are going to empower you to be able to handle the basics of a chart, right? So that you could take anyone, your friend, your family, your loved one, and be able to give them some meat, to give them some life-changing information and dessert. Give them a full meal and dessert, and in only 6 weeks. And I feel very bold in making that claim. And yet I know that I can, because I've been reading astrological charts since I was about 10 years old. So I know that you can do it. And I've watched it happen. It's like my belief in my students almost gives them wings. It kind of blows my mind how they'll start the course and not know how they could ever even learn how to read an astrology chart. And at the end, they're out there doing it. And I don't ever hear from them again because they're reading so many charts and they're so busy. Well, that's not true. I do talk to them still, but do you know what I'm saying? And so, yes, that is available. I'm really excited. My class is already starting to fill up. I already have students signed up. And so I wanted to get it out there to the world to offer this to more people so that more people could have access to learning this information. But I'm here to teach it. That's my purpose, to empower and teach as many people as possible to have this skill, to be able to use it for yourself. And then if you want to make it a business, you can. Or if you're a healer and you want to add it into what you already do, the market for this is off the chart right now. It is off the
Yes.
chart. This particular form of astrology is about to burst through the mainstream. I can feel it. It's like just going to explode. And so you'd be getting in ground floor of this whole ideology of following the true stars, right? So it's a special time. It's a very special time. And I also will be giving 2 bonuses where where I will be essentially guiding you on how to market as an astrologer, if that's something that speaks to you, as well as a class deeply devoted to healing the Chiron wound. Just a full solid class on Chiron itself, because that seems to be one of the big things that people really want to know about. So I didn't plan on telling you any of this, but Odie, you have a way of getting me to talk before I'm ready. So I blame it on Odie. I was not planning to share this right now, but anyways, that is the offer that I have, as well as, oh, I forgot to mention. Yes, yeah, a lot of the, yeah, that's a huge one. The human design people are starting to get using the true sidereal system. And so that's going to be a huge overflow of people wanting to know more. Well, what is that? Why should I use? Oh, wow. So the bubble's about to burst, so to speak. Additionally, I will be starting a once a month Q&A so that anyone who signs up to the course, you'll get access to that for 1 year. So that's a really nice bonus. And I have people messaging me all the time about questions and doing a Q&A. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this once a month. It'll probably be on a Saturday or Sunday or some other great day. And we'll dive in and answer your questions, whatever they may be, which is always the funnest thing ever. So those of you that want to sign up, you will get quite a nice discount, which you'll see on the website. I normally offer it for $2,000, but as you go to the website, you'll see it's quite a bit less. And that's a special for all of you for being part of my 5-day challenge. And those of you who are watching, I will also apply that special to you. And you'll have until Sunday at midnight to get it at the discounted rate. And then after that, it will go up to 2,000. Okay. So I'd like to leave that there for now. And you can ask me any questions maybe tomorrow or the day after as needed. But I want to keep going here with the charts. And I wanted to, any final questions, Odie, about that before I move along here?
Well, going back to the chart, is there an element that we can see that we would be a good astrologer? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, scorpionic energy, or
Oh, yeah.
is there something we could look at that it would confirm to say, in fact, look, not only you feel it, but you see it in your natal chart?
Yes, yes, we'll get there. Right
Yes.
now, I'd like to know if anyone has any questions about the actual framework of the chart, about the ascendant, about the IC, about the DS or the MC. Does any have any questions about the houses or about the signs, or what are we even looking at when we look at a chart? Any questions here?
I have questions, but it's
Yeah, bring it on.
I missed the first day, so I'm trying
Yes.
to recoup on that.
Yes, yes, I had a feeling
I
someone.
got a little confused between there's two signs and you follow the color, I think it was yesterday.
Right.
Last night I was overwhelmed. I went to bed like immediately, like I have to let this come through. And I woke up in the morning thinking about this. I'm like, damn, that was a good class, good training.
There was a lot of energy moving, that's for sure. So yeah, so
Yeah.
let's go over a basic idea of what is the chart, okay? So this chart is showing us a map at the moment of our birth. Yeah, so imagine for a moment that you're standing here and this middle line is the horizon line. Okay, and so you're standing on that line and you're looking up at the sky. Everything you see from your left, up, top to the right is everything that is visible to you, right? Let's imagine you're being born in the hospital and you're just your future self and you're standing here on the ground. You're looking up at the sky to see what was there. Okay, so everything that was up was what was visible in the sky. You could see it. Whereas everything down below in the chart represents all the planets and all of the signs that were not visible, right? So when you're out at night, have you ever noticed how you can only see some constellations at a time? You can't see every constellation, right? You sit there by the fire at night and you watch the constellations move. Yeah, so depending on the moment you were born, these specific constellations will be above and these specific constellations will be below. And so what this outer circle is showing us is what signs were above us and what signs were below us. And the reason that is important is because everything that is above in the chart represents our outer personality, right? It represents our expression of who we are. It's outer, it's the achiever, it's the go-getter. That's the go-getter energy of the chart. Yeah, it's the masculine, it's the take action. It's what we're going to do in a big way for out in the world. Okay. Now, everything underneath, that's more of our stay at home, take care of the family, hang out with the friends. It's like how we take care of ourselves. It could be yoga, it could be our routine, it could be our diet and our exercise. Okay. And so everything below us is what supports us to become that outer self that we are for the world. Okay. Now, there's also 4 main points here. There's the point at the far left, which is the sign that was on the eastern horizon at the moment we were born. And then there's the sign directly opposite, which is what was on the western horizon, sunset, when we were born. Then there's down below, the farthest, deepest, most hidden part of us, like the root system of the chart on the very bottom. And then there's the Christmas tree on the top, which is that highest self. That's our highest possibility. It's the star on the Christmas tree. And so there's names for these 4 points, kind of like we have a compass that has northeast, north, east, south, and west. Well, the directions on this compass are AS, or ascendant, IC, that's short for Imam Coeli, which means the bottom of the sky, or the DC, or DS, sometimes it's different, which relates to relationships. So ascendant, AS, all about the self, all about what we look like. It's the head. Remember, it's the head. That's like kind of how we're born. We come through head first. Yeah. So that's kind of the wheel here. And then the
That's
MC
what
is
you
how
said, the identity part, right?
what's that?
The identity part.
Yeah, identity. So we start off with who we are. Kind of makes sense, right? It's like, I am here. This is me. I am this being. And then we have the IC, which represents our home and family. So when you have a lot of planets or signs down here at the IC, that means that we're very deep, right? We're very internal. We're very like hidden, we're close with our family and friends, but we have a strong protection around everyone else. Like if I see a lot of sun signs that are at the IC, and they're very guarded and very protective of themselves. Because if you think of the symbol of the sign that is associated with this area of the chart, which is Cancer, the crab, right? That has the pincer bugs, and it has a hard shell, and it will protect anyone who comes into their territory, right? So that's one way to think about it. And then up here on the far right, that's relationships, which is directly opposite our individuality. Kind of interesting, right? It's like, I am me. And then over here, you and I equal we. It's marriage, it's partnership, it's relationship. Okay. So, right, everything below the horizon, self, identity, possessions, communication, family, pleasure, health, that's like our foundation. It enables us to have a career, ethics, philosophy, travel, marriage, friendship, community, and solitude, right? So this is sort of our outer expression. This is our inner expression. This is our identity. This is our deepest roots. This is our relationships. And this is our big crescendo. It's our mountaintop. It's our sunshine. It's like our biggest goal. We haven't touched too much in on the midheaven, but the midheaven is one of my favorite places for people. I often call it the secondary sun sign, right? So if you're like, what is my purpose? And you're trying to look at your sun sign, but your sun sign doesn't give you much of an idea. You go to your midheaven, and from there you go, oh, actually, that's what I'm like. When I'm giving my biggest gift, that's the energy that I am. And it may not be our sun sign at all. Our sun sign might be used in a different way. Yeah. Very interesting. Is this helpful, Coach? Yeah. Any other questions? Is it starting to sync some things up, or?
Yeah, that's good. What I was also considering is yesterday where you were talking about the color, where you have the particular sign, and then you follow on the other side, I guess, based on the color.
All right, yeah, let's do this. I know exactly what you're talking about, and good job talking about it so well. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to give my computer a moment to wake up here. There we go. And we'll come down to, y'all, this has been such a great time with you all the last several days. It's been a real pleasure to share this work with you all. So So let's tune into the chart. So this was yesterday's chart. And we'll come down to this great slide that shows. So there's kind of like two charts you need to learn. There's your chart, right? And then there's the fixed chart that shows you the structure of what the whole chart represents. And this slide should explain it. Okay. So do you see how in the chart on the left, it says Aries, fire, cardinal, right? First house. Yeah. And then it says Taurus, and then it says Gemini, and then it says Cancer, Leo, Virgo. Well, this is the structure of a chart. This is what each house relates to. So the first house relates to Aries, the second house relates to the energetics of Taurus, etc. Now, if you notice here, there are two circles on this chart. One is the inner circle, and it never changes. It will always match this chart right here. Okay, so this is like the foundation of what all charts are really meaning. Okay, now the fun part, this gets a lot of people confused, Coach. So you're doing great. You're doing great. This outer wheel right here changes. Oh my God. And it confuses. It's like when you're first learning astrology, it's like, what does that mean? Well, this inner chart just means the structure of the chart. The first house relates to the energy of Aries, new beginnings, identity, individualism. However, the outer chart shows us what sign was up in the sky at the moment you made this chart. Was it for your birth time? Was it for an event? Was it for your friend, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, whatever? It's going to change based on who you're creating the chart for. Yeah, it's going to change. And so that means everyone has a different outer ring, typically, placed on an inner ring that stays the same. And so, you know, when you have a Rubik's Cube, you have like all these different colors. You can imagine that a human, each of us has a Rubik's Cube that has a unique pattern of colors, kind of like a chart, right? And so it's the combination of what we have, this inner ring that never changes, Aries, right? Whatever that house is about, with what that outer ring is. And that's what creates our fingerprint, our snowflake, our unique combination. Okay. Now it gets a little more complicated because you have to add a third color and a third ingredient. And that's the filling, the planets that are in there. Okay, so basically when you have that Rubik's Cube, there are basically 3 gears that line up kind of like a clock does to reveal the pattern for each person. Their specific blueprint, their specific fingerprint. And that is the inner ring, which tells you, okay, this is the main focus. This is the arena. This is the stage, the focus. Okay, first house, Aries, identity, individualism, what we look like, fiery, impulsive. Okay, and it's got the south node there in the middle, the filling, which is all about the past and who they were, right? It's about work. It's about service. Okay, and you've got Virgo, work, service. Your identity is all about work and service. What you look like is all about work and service. You might look modest. There's even visuals that they describe. Each sign looks a specific way. I've read them. They're so accurate. Once you know what someone's rising sign is, you read a description for that sign. It is eerie. Like one of my former participants or clients, she's like, I am Pisces rising. She's like, I'm not a blah, blah, blah. She's like, I look like a Pisces. And you're like, yeah, you do. Big blue eyes and like water type energy. And so that's how we read the charts. Now, Coach, it gets a little more complicated when you have 2 signs, right? That's when it adds a little more complication because now you have to add another color to your Rubik's Cube. or another planet. Or let's say you have 5 planets. Now you have to decipher, right? And that's how it gets more complicated. So just start with the inner ring and the outer ring. I would advise everyone to just try and start by looking at the inner ring and the outer ring and thinking about how those energies create a picture.
Well, I tell you that was more simpler for me, or maybe because of yesterday, I was able to get it right now. But I was able to follow. It made a lot of sense when you start adding this, and that. It makes the whole. So we're just
Yes.
taking bits and pieces to make the whole.
Yes.
That's a trait in that particular house.
Yes, exactly.
Got
And
it.
so, Odie, to begin to answer your question about are there things that make a good astrologer? One thing is pattern recognition, as well as detail analysis, like the ability to get very detailed. So the sign that might be good at astrology, one of them is Virgo. Because it's fine with all the details. It's like, oh yeah, give me more of those specifics. Yeah, you coach, right? Exactly. Exactamundo. Exactamundo, as they say. Yes. Now that's just I'm going to go a lot more detail with this, OD, but I'm going to wait till we kind of look at your chart so I can do some cool examples for you, because that'll be fun. Let me just, all right. So, okay, so we've gotten you set up, Coach. Now, probably everyone watching who had questions may find that more clarity around this question. I love it. I love when you ask me questions that you think maybe I've already answered, because I love giving you even better answers. Like I love it. It assists me to teach you better. And I'm like, yes, because as we're going along here, right? I don't always know who's getting it and who's not getting it. And I want to make sure that all of you are getting it. So we have everyone arriving at the destination together and getting it. Okay. So,
well, this definitely helps, because when I was going through it, looking at myself, I was trying to kind of like what Odie was doing. I was trying to make sense of it. I was more lost than Odie, of course. Odie kind of she got it right, but I was trying to make more sense, and the little bit that was making sense, I was like, oh, all right. So I'm like, I want to know more.
it's interesting.
So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, go ahead on.
Can I ask you a question about this same chart? Like here,
Yeah.
you were talking about the ascendant, that is Virgo here, and that's an earth sign.
Yes.
And then you have to mix it with the Aries, which is by default in the first house, is fire. So this person, who the ascendant is how that person looks like, would have a Virgo trait, earth, plus the Aries trait of fire.
Okay. So,
no?
Yeah, no, this is a great question. This is a great question. Okay. So yes. Now the question though is, how much do we weigh each one? Are they the same equality? And they're not, because Aries here doesn't mean hot and fiery. What Aries means here is identity, self. So in this case, the element of the inside circle is not as pervasive as the energy of the element on the outside circle, if that makes sense. The first house is about how we kind of show up in this like Aries way, right? Hi, I'm here. This is who I am. So if you have water here, it is going to mute that fire, right? Like you're not going to be a super fiery, outgoing, hi, I'm here type of vibe. Of course, if you have the sun there, OD, that's going to add a whole nother influence.
Yes, I feel like you're picking on me now.
I felt you. I was like, Odie's
Yes,
like, well, I have water there, but you also have the sun. And
Yeah.
that's another element. And so each of these layers are they're just like that Rubik's Cube, right? And we're
Yes.
just adding in different little ingredients, or it's like being at an apothecary or an elixir bar. And we have all these essences of flowers and chocolate, and we have this whole array of different ingredients. And with the chart, we're just kind of taking a glass tumbler and we're pouring in a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and we're creating a ratio to create the elixir of us, right? So with Virgo on the ascendant, we'd go over and we'd find the constellation Virgo, and it'd be this beautiful color, beautiful pure energy. We'd pour that in and we'd measure it and we go, oh, there's a lot. We put a lot of the Virgo energy in. And then maybe we'd go over to Aries and we'd see, okay, individuality would be sparky, and we'd pour it in. But the Virgo is going to be much stronger. It's going to be, the earth is going to be much more amplified, but the person with Virgo rising may be a strong individual around health and healing. They might have a forcefulness or a leadership ability around how they serve others, how they heal others.
Okay.
Right? And so you would also want to look at the head, Virgo, and the stomach. Now the element part, that's very interesting, because I think sometimes it shows up strong. Like it shows up really strong when someone's a fire sign, like it like adds some more oomph to that fire rising. But then when it's water, I guess it could add a sauna. It could add like a sort of steamy presence to someone when they have water on the rising with a little bit of the Aries energy there. Yeah. What do you think, Odie?
Yes, they've called me that many times.
Okay. Okay.
That was before my second what do you call it? My second Saturn return.
Oh,
Before that. Now it's another story.
well, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. And I think you have an additional added fire energy because you have the sun there.
Yeah.
So that, if it was just Pisces rising with no sun, okay, this might be a different story. It might not be quite as steamy.
Mm-hmm.
But with the sun, yeah, I mean, that's going to amplify the fire energy already present with that first house.
Yes, I concur.
Then if there's two signs on the ascendant or on another house, then we have to add those in as well. So you're just going to go to your elixir bar. You're going to pull out, let's say, Libra and Scorpio here, and Taurus, and you're going to say, oh, well, they're very grounded and practical, and they may make money in a way that involves beauty, depth, and transformation. So you're going to just combine all of those into this package. Now I'm getting a bit advanced, so I'll slow down here. Slow down to the speed of
Actually,
consumption.
that makes sense. What you just said, that makes so
Okay.
much sense. You got
Okay.
those three together. And you
Yeah.
know what? I was thinking about, if I can share the way I'm making myself understand more is
Sure.
we tend to always talk about either a person's either introvert or extrovert. But in reality, we are all a mix of both. It's just how much of here, how much over there, right? Depends on the situation, depends on the circumstances, the person, yada yada. So that's how I was getting it. That's why I'm like, oh, I'm having even a more aha moment, because I was like, that makes so much sense. Yes.
Yay. Oh, I love aha moments with students. It's my favorite thing ever. And
Hey, not bad for a male, huh?
oh, well, I know a lot of very intelligent males, so I think you're doing great. And you have a lot of Virgo in your chart. So you do well with details. You do well with precision. You do well with having patience to go through each little component. And that's a big thing for astrology. Now, Odie, there's so much more to that answer. So I am not even done answering that question yet. I'm just going to slowly be giving you little pieces of it, because it's a good question. Okay. Any other questions here before I keep moving? Good. Okay. So the next component is that we went over the body parts, right? We went over them. Even the quasi-racy ones that I can't believe. I should find a different way to talk about this. I got to find some new tools, but see what I'm dealing with here is that's part of our bodies. Okay. So we went through Aries, and the head, Taurus, the throat, Gemini, the arms, the lungs, Cancer, the breasts, Leo, the heart, etc. And then I revealed to you how the head, right, aligns with the first house, right? The throat with the second, and how the human body corresponds to every house of the chart. Interesting. So when we look at a chart, we could say head, throat, arms, right? Breast, heart, stomach, kidneys, reproductive organs, and all reproductive organ stuff, all of it, including ophiuchus. Okay, 9th house, thighs, 10th house, knees, 11th house, the whole system. And I love that the 11th house and Aquarius is the whole system, because it usually relates to friendship and community. And so it's a nice way to remember that Aquarius includes everyone. Includes everyone, right? So it's the whole system of the body. It's the whole electrical system of the body. So if we have, so last night, for instance, when I worked with your sister-in-law coach, I noticed that her Chiron, the biggest wound, was in Aquarius. Now, I didn't feel like I had strong enough Spanish to explain to her Chiron, so I didn't go there. But Aquarius is the electrical system, and so that's why I recommended acupuncture, because I figured she might have some kind of wound around her electrical system, and that might help get whatever pain she has moving. And so
Yeah,
that,
she does. Yeah.
and I don't know how Ecuador is with acupuncture, but that would be so good for her. Maybe you could have it at the retreat center she's gonna build.
Yeah, they use a lot of acupuncture over there, so that's good.
That would be awesome. I'm coming. That sounds great. Okay, so once we kind of start stacking this together, right, we've learned now that the inner circle is stationary. It doesn't change. It relates to the signs, starting with Aries all the way around. Each of the houses also relates to a body part, just like the sign that, right? So Aries, head, right? So you can kind of see how there's a rhythm. There's a consistent rhythm. And then the only thing that's changing is this outer ring. Yeah. Which is it's so helpful and so cool that it's so systematic and just very, very, very clear. So here's a nice thing to start with around Chiron. So I told you I would talk about Chiron. Because we had Chiron conjunct the sun, we had Chiron conjunct the destiny point, we had Chiron conjunct everything this year over the last month, starting in March. So last month through April was Chiron conjunct everything extravaganza in Pisces. And so if you went through a lot of emotional upheaval, especially around sharing your spiritual gifts, that was Chiron in action. Chiron's still in Pisces, actually. So Chiron is the asteroid of healing, and it's actually a nucleus of a comet. Interesting, right? So he was wounded and he never healed, but he also helps us to heal. He shows us how to be strong and how we can go through suffering, but it's also how we heal. It's like our karmic wound, right? And so I came across a really incredible energy healer named Master Sha. He's from China. You may be familiar with him. And he shares this incredible chart about how energy flows. A lot of people think, okay, I need to work on my diet, I need to work on my body, on exercise to feel better. And that's a wonderful thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But where is the root core cause of an issue come from? Does it come from the body? Well, according to Master Sha, the very beginning, the very root of all issues or challenges is in the soul. He says the soul or the spirit leads to the heart, which is the core of life, which then leads to the mind, which then leads to our energy, which then leads to matter. So Shen leads to Qi, leads to Jing. And so that's why I think that astrology charts are so powerful, because we're looking at a map of the soul, right? We're looking at the map of us, our original blueprint. And so simply by identifying where we have Chiron in our chart can start to heal things that are happening in our matter Jing world. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So if you wondered, well, why is the chart so good for helping us to heal physical material things like wealth or physical body or emotional body? It is because soul, you heal at the soul level and then everything else will follow. And this was a new concept to me when I came across this. I went, wow, okay, so that's why spiritual healing is so effective. That's why spiritual teachers, you want to be near them, because they're very in touch with the level of the soul. And so when you can heal at the soul level, everything else will heal. And I see myself as a soul healer. I see myself as an intuitive guide for assisting you all to get in touch with the soul level of you, and then everything can be healed from that place and that space. And so bringing the True the Stars chart together with the energy of the soul and connecting to the heart and the soul, and then identifying points and places, that's what's happening in this class. And that's one reason that it's more than just an astrological event. It is coming from the level of the soul, using the mind, using the heart, then to affect matter. And it's pretty cool getting to combine these things. Yes, Christy says we are energy, 100%. I would even go a step farther and say we are soul. We are soul, we are heart, we are mind, and that creates our energy. And that creates matter. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so that is our recap from the last 4 days. I hope that was helpful to get in touch with our charts more. And now I would just like to dive into, I'm going to read one more testimonial. I love reading this testimonial. This was one of my dear friends, healing. She's a healer. She's a billionaire life coach. And I know I've read this to you before, but she came to one of these classes, and in 3 minutes, I'd been able to pinpoint something for her about her being. And she said, if I'd only learned this 30 years ago, my whole life would have been different. And I went, oh, wow. Imagine how many lives can be touched with this work. And I said, I have to keep going. And then the passion for wanting to train others so they could also share this began, because I'm only one person. And I'd like there to be more people sharing this True the Stars chart with the world. And since we have Jupiter in Taurus right now, which is the millionaire planet, and it's just this huge wealth energy, I feel that whatever one starts at this time, Venus, the billionaire planet in Aries, starting new things, is going to be very, very successful, very wealth-filled, very beneficial. I love this. Because making money is not the backbone of our guiding purpose. Making money is the byproduct of our guiding purpose. If you're doing something you love, you're more likely to put all into it, and that generally equates to making money. And so I'm in the business of inspiring people to do what they love. And to know that whatever that is, they also can create huge amounts of wealth. Because when you put your heart into what you do, money will but follow, right? And even Napoleon Hill says, whatsoever the mind of man can conceive and bring himself to believe, or her to believe, he or she can achieve. And I know that in my heart and my soul, that whatever it is that you wish to create, whatever it is you wish to bring through, you can and you will. And you will also be able to make wealth and abundance beyond your wildest dreams as you follow that. That is my 100%. You follow those principles, you follow the right steps, you get the right habits, you get the right guides. Anything is possible. Now, this is a cool one. I'll come back to that. Oh, and here's that quote. So, the ancient art that secret societies, the elite class, and the ruling classes have depended on for years. In her 1990 book, What Does Joan Say? My 7 years as White House astrologer to Nancy and Ronald Reagan, she wrote, I was responsible for timing all press conferences, most speeches, the State of the Union addresses, the takeoffs and landings of Air Force One. I picked the time of Ronald Reagan's debate with Jimmy Carter and the 2 debates with Walter Mondale. All extended trips abroad as well as the shorter trips and one-day excursions. So the work that an astrologer can do is fairly unlimited in terms of the level and caliber of the people and clients you can work with. I even had a student who really wanted to work with the stars, with famous people. She's like, I want to get out there and get very high level clients. And I was like, more power to you. You know, whatever it is that your goal or dream is, it's possible with this work, right? The level as high as the White House, right? I mean, that's pretty cool. And just think about all the astrologers who were guides to the kings and queens. That's a whole nother conversation. All right. So here we are. We're going to come on in. Oh, so if you're curious to know more about my masterclass, this is one of my former graduates, Tanu. He's like a tech wizard from Finland. Hi, Tanu, if you're watching. And he said, so grateful for this course. It's more than just learning how to read true sidereal astrology charts. This course is like a support rope for us to climb up a wall to our true self. Whereas without it, the climb is so much more difficult. Thank you. And so I want you to know that my courses are more than just classes. They are experiences that allow you to get in touch with the soul. And then from the soul, identify, illuminate, and come into greater sense of beingness with whatever it is that you're seeking to create in your life, whether that's in wealth or health or love or just moving forwards. There's a beautiful, beautiful tribes get brought together here. Okay. So here we go. And I told Coach Gio-sama he would be first. He said, I have so many things I want to ask about. So he didn't say that. That was just me. I just said that. So here we go. Let's find Coach getting ready for his cruise. That's what I think of when I see this picture. All right. So, Coach, we're at your chart. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, where do I start?
Okay. That's a good one. You want me to give you an answer for that?
Well, I'm looking at the top.
I would imagine you would.
What does it all mean?
This is actually a really good question. And a lot of my students come to me with this question, which is, where do I start? Well, number one, you can start wherever you want. Really. Now, sometimes it's nice to have a formula. Sometimes it's nice to have a structure. So I want to give you a structure because it's like, where do I even begin? And what I want to start with, and what I like to start with a lot of the time, is the ascendant, right? Because that is where you were born. That is that moment of, birth. Here I am here. This is who I am. Okay. And so at the ascendant, the constellation of Ophiuchus was on the far left-hand horizon at the moment of your birth. So what does that mean? Well, Ophiuchus tends to be protective of itself because Ophiuchus typically are people who've been trained in ancient mystery schools like Greece and Egypt to learn sacred practices around energy, how to control their energy, how to utilize their energy. And because of this, they lived in a time where they were honored, respected, and revered, typically as priests, as teachers, and as guides. Now, when I tune into, and one thing I do with energy work is I tune into energy timelines. And as I tune in intuitively to the timeline of our Earth, I sense that there came a moment where things changed, where those of us who were the priests and priestesses and guides and teachers of this very advanced knowledge suddenly became the ones who were persecuted, and where we weren't allowed to share our knowledge with the world. And thus, many hundreds, maybe thousands of years of having to hide, to go underground. Right? You can just think about, our mentor Kevin and how he's had to deal with so many different challenges to share knowledge, right? Just knowledge. You would think knowledge wouldn't be so scary to whoever it's scary to. But Ophiuchus has had to deal with much resistance around what they know. So there's a tendency to be very powerful and also secretive. Like, I have to protect the power of what I carry. And so there can be a tendency to wear a little bit of a cloak around how you truly feel or how you truly are. Yet that will come off when you're comfortable, when you feel like you're around like-minded people who you know you're safe with. And then you may step into a more of a leadership role. Now, having Ophiuchus rising means that you probably have a decent amount of sacred knowledge within your consciousness from other lifetimes. So a good practice for Ophiuchus people is meditation and writing, to allow awarenesses to come to them that may have been suppressed, that may have been buried, that may have been ignored. Okay. And to acknowledge that you may have awareness within you that is just yours. Like, you've already gained it. You don't have to go to anyone else to get it. You already were taught these things. And so the things that you're learning may be more as reminders than as new lessons. You're just remembering that which you've already learned. So added to that, you have a lot of Sagittarius in the first house. So that's fire and fire. Okay. So you're very fiery by nature. It's interesting because it's like, think of it like a cake with two frostings. No, not two frostings. The top of the cake is one thing. It's like a German chocolate cake. Or it's like coconut on the top and then chocolate on the sides. That would be kind of this combination of a little bit of Ophiuchus, might be that coconut on the top, and then all that Sagittarius like chocolate on the side. So you're a combination of interesting energies. Part of you, Sagittarius, is very freedom loving, very free, very spontaneous, very friendly, very optimistic, loves to travel, loves to learn, loves to, it's a fire energy. It's a very social energy, but it also loves time alone. Needs time alone. Needs it. But very friendly, right? Very fiery, exactly. So there's a part of you that also feels very secretive and protective. When you first meet someone, like, you're going to make sure that they're someone you can trust. That's Linda, and that's Odie. Okay, sorry. But you also have so much fire, and you have so much energy. Energia. When you meet you, big energy. Okay. Now, we start there, and then I would go down to the next thing I see of importance, which is in the third house, which is your destiny point. So the destiny point always has a twin, which is your past life point. And so by knowing where the past life point is and where the destiny point is, gives you a lot of information about what you're growing towards and what you're growing away from. And this I call, this is like the multi-million-dollar piece of information right here. Like if you wanted to just, you could just advertise reading this one piece of information to people. That's all you would need to know. And you could change lives. Right. That's why I want to teach people, because you really don't have to know that much to be able to affect lives in a positive manner. I give a lot more than this, but the point is that this alone is gold information. So by knowing what sign your destiny point is, what you're here to learn, and knowing what your past life point is, what you're moving, it's kind of like what you're really good at. So it might be really easy for you. You can do it no problem. It's like a really strong muscle. You want to just use it all the time. If you use it all the time, you get so unhappy. You're so unfulfilled. It's like, I'm not moving. That's like what Kevin says, if you're not growing, you're dying. That's kind of how the destiny point is. If you're not growing towards that thing that's challenging for you, you stagnate. So your destiny point, he's like, what is it? What is it? Is Aquarius. So you're growing towards the family, like the collective human family. You're here to be part of this big vision with everyone. Like the big events, all the people, like you love that. You love that. Whereas the South Node is in Leo. Okay. So in a past life, you were probably either famous, you were probably a actor or performer or a king or a prince. You were either royalty or you were famous or both. And so you come into this lifetime super comfortable being the center of attention, super comfortable, being in kingly energy. And Leo is a lot about being about yourself, right? It's a lot about, I am the king, right? Whereas Aquarius energy, so the image I have for Leo is like someone sitting with the crown on and they're saying, I am the king, and they're putting the crown on their head, right? But with Aquarius takes that crown, and then imagine there's a huge huge field of like a concert with thousands and millions of people, and everyone has a crown, and everyone puts their crown on and says, we are all kings and queens, right? We are all royalty. We are all family. No one of us is greater than the other. And so Aquarius, growing into Aquarius, is like learning how to take the focus off of oneself as being the center of the universe and to place it onto, how can we create something really awesome for everyone? Right? So that's one reason why the mentor we follow and the club we're in is so good for you, because you're taking the focus off yourself and you're spreading it to lots of others. You're sharing information. You're raising other people up so that
Very true.
everyone can rise into their greatness. And it's also in the third house, which is the arms, which is sharing information. So it's like a Gemini energy. So it's this combination of Aquarius and Gemini energy. So you're really here to teach and share and network and market, and that's really good for you, actually, is all this communication you do online, and Aquarius is the internet. It's technology. Yeah. So how does that land for you so far? Any questions?
Well, that's incredible. As you're talking, I'm thinking about just my life and some experiences, and yeah, you're dead on. definitely in a lot of aspects of it. That makes sense. That's why I said in our club that we're on, I feel home. I feel like part of the family, and I have that wanting to help people as much as I can and anything I can.
That's right.
That's just crazy. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's funny? I'm like at the beginning, in the house one, I definitely am always, I always call the introvert because I'm always cautious. But once I know that person, I am like an open book, not an issue.
Hmm. Exactly.
I tend to give a lot more than what I receive.
Exactly. Yeah. And so now I'm gonna take you on up to the midheaven, because now we've kind of set a foundation for you a little bit below, which I think is good for you. You also have your moon in the very bottom of your chart, so you're very family oriented. You're a real family man. It's all about family. That's your foundation. You have a strong psychic connection to your family. You also have your Chiron there, so there's more to talk about. But for now, we're going to jump on up to the star of the Christmas tree of your chart, which is a nice balance for you with your Aquarius North Node destiny point. So your midheaven is in Virgo. So you really shine as a healer, as a supporter, as someone who is serving. So volunteering as a form of service, right? Serving the needs of the many. So Virgos are often really into volunteering. They're really into sharing and giving and being of service to others. Yeah, sounds some nice yawns there. So all that service you give is part of your purpose, right? Health and healing is another area where you're going to really shine, and you might begin to pursue that more. I think, your South Node, your karmic destiny, your Mars, your Mercury are all in Leo. And so you're kind of used to being in this more fiery, like teacher energy of, I am here and I'm shining. And so you're really learning how to serve and give more. And it's a lifelong lesson, right? It's like we don't immediately go from our past self and then we're super excelling at what we're here to learn. This is the top of the mountain. This is the top of the Christmas tree. So if we're still working on it, we're still evolving into being that expression, that's great, right? There's no need to put ourselves down like, oh, I'm not there yet. It's more a matter of like, look at where I can go. Look at when I do that, that's real pinnacle.
Yeah, it's just a goal.
Yes. 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 And Virgo is earth. It's very practical. It's very health conscious. It's very aware of the body. So taking yoga, qigong, going on walks, like physical body exercise is actually a really big part of your purpose. Even your sun is 1 degree of Virgo. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things in Virgo. Opposite of OD with all her 8 things in Pisces. So Virgo and Pisces are opposite on the chart wheel. So the two of you might have some interesting conversations because you'd be very different from each other, right? You'd be like 2 sides of one coin.
Yeah, different approaches, different perspectives.
Exactly. Exactly. Which, could create tension, and it could also create a lot of like, wow, amazing. That sort of thing. So midheaven in Virgo, Jupiter in Virgo, Venus in Virgo, Uranus in Virgo, Pluto in Virgo, Sun in Virgo, analysis, detail. You might make a really good editor. You might make someone really good at handling agriculture, growing plants, animals, things of that nature. Yeah. Oh, and you both, OD just wrote that you both have the North Node in the 3rd house. Yeah, I was like, I'm feeling some kind of connection here, right? So probably in a different sign, right? But both in the 3rd house. So that emphasizes communication and networking and sharing and talking. And 3rd house is like that person who talks to everyone. So you're here to become that person who talks to everyone. Yeah. You might even really be good at network marketing, which most people are like, oh, I don't want to do network marketing, but third house is all about network marketing. Because it's that talking to lots of different people. And if you're like, I don't want to do any talking to lots of different people, that could be because the South Node is in the house of retreat. So you're used to being on retreat and like not having to go in amongst the humans and the people. You're used to kind of retreating to your mountaintop and sort of sitting alone and shining there. And so third house asks you to distill all that wisdom from the mountaintop and bring it down to the people in the most straightforward, clear way possible. The every man and every woman. Yeah.
Yeah, most of my life I've been always in sales, so I've always been speaking, selling, networking, communicating some way, some type of shape or form.
Yes, yes. And one area, OD said, dang, that's great. I love that. So I would imagine that with it in the third house, talking to your neighbors, talking to people at your local grocery stores, talking at people who like everyone in your local community are going to be a really good group of people for you to network with. It could also be the club that you're in.
Right. Yeah. Internationally.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
No, that helped solve a lot of mysteries, Nancy Drew.
That's funny. I love her. She was one of my favorites. That's great. I'm honored. Maybe that's where I got this inspiration. I
Yeah, that's
love
great.
I love to dive into the secrets, and reveal information. Maybe that Nancy Drew got me started on that. That's great. That's great.
Well, this is awesome. This has cleared a lot of ideas, misconceptions, perception, whatever you want to say. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And one day we can talk more and do more here, but it's a good start.
We will.
I know we have a lot more
Yes.
questions. So Patrice, are you still here? Maybe she is.
I am.
Hey, yay. Okay. Well,
Hey.
we didn't. Hi, Bibi. You'll have to tell us when we come to you if we got your husband's chart, if we did a good job on it. Okay. So Patrice, do you have any questions right off the bat?
No, this is a lot to take in.
Okay.
I have noticed the Virgo. I have a lot of Virgo.
Yes.
In
Mhm.
my tropical chart, I don't have Virgo.
Oh,
But when you
interesting.
talked about the stomach, now I see, okay, this is why I'm having stomach issues.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm finding that my system is very slow at digesting and assimilating any kind of information. So smaller meals. I
Mhm.
mean, even just eating maybe, I don't know, even drinking water or putting something in my water,
Yeah.
I'll drink it, but takes like a couple hours before I can really eat anything. So my system is really slow. So that kind of like shed some light on my stomach issues.
Wow.
Yeah. I do have one question. I had a stroke in 2000, I can't remember, 2014, 15. So can you see that in my chart?
Well, I kind of can. And
Okay.
what was catching my eye down here was when you said my system is very slow. There's two things that are showing up. And one is Saturn, which can be the planet of restriction. and contraction. And so a stroke, of course, is the lack of blood flow to the brain. And it's in Aries, which is the head. Okay, so that could relate, and it's in the house of the home. Were you at home when your stroke happened?
No, actually I was at work.
You were at work. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, it is directly opposite your midheaven, which is career, which is out in the world. So it is engaging with that area of your life, interestingly enough. Um, I get maybe there was something around work where
Oh,
maybe you felt very constricted.
yes. Yes.
So I'm hearing how important
Oh,
it feels like there's a karma here, right?
I
Whenever I
was,
see Saturn's like a karma. It's like something happened before that's probably being brought up again. And probably with your stroke, that's what was happening. So
connected to the midheaven.
yes, so this is the IC, and it's down in the fourth house of the home,
Mm-hmm.
related to the head because it's in Aries.
Mm-hmm.
And then the MC, which is up here, is directly opposite the IC, which means Saturn is also directly opposite the MC. So Saturn is constriction and restriction related to your career. And it's
Mm-hmm.
down in the house of the home, which is emotion. The house of the home, it's all about our deepest emotion. It's about our ancestry. It's about our family. So my guess, if we were to work together and we wanted to clear some of this up, I'm getting that there's maybe some ancestral trauma around authority and leadership. Like I'm getting the sense of like one of your ancestors was a leader and they stood up to authority. And then what happened? And then where have you carried this in your DNA? Because the fourth house is DNA and its ancestry and its lineage. So where have you carried in your DNA itself constriction and restriction around authority figures? And then you were at work, and then maybe that got activated, like it got brought to the surface because of something that was happening for you with your job, right? So it was like you were triggered about it, but then it also triggered another layer because the fourth house typically relates back to our ancestry and our DNA of potentially an ancestor who stood up to authority and maybe something that happened to them that could have gotten coded in your lineage.
That makes sense.
And
And
so,
I'm not the only one though.
okay,
So, my aunt, now this is on my mother's side,
right.
all on my and the stroke happened on my right, but it affected my left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my grandmother, my aunt, two uncles.
Mm-hmm.
These are my mother's brother and sister, yeah, and my grandmother. And they all had strokes. And I was sitting at work one day because I've been cleaning up my lineage, but I just know that there's something else that I have got to, it's time for it to go.
Do you
So I'm
know much
like,
do you know much about your ancestors? Like where'd they come from on this
I
side?
don't.
Okay. If you have any time and wanted to do some research on it, that might be really start opening the door to healing this. It's intense work. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as we start looking up our ancestors, there is an energy. But there,
Well, my intention is to get to the core,
yep,
not the root, but the actual core, the origination of
yes,
where all this started.
yes.
And I follow patterns,
Mhm.
but as I follow the patterns and I'm deleting and I'm getting to that core, I can feel. And I didn't know, I kind of knew maybe the chart could kind of tell me where I'm at right now with it. So that's why I asked the question, because it's all connected to, in order for me to move forward. I do know that. I
That's
do know
right.
that.
Mhm.
That's what I'm sensing.
Yeah.
So when I looked at the tropical chart and I didn't connect with it. I'm like, something's not connecting. What am I missing?
Mm.
And then I was guided to the sidereal. And okay. So now it's like, I hate to say this, it's like I was being misguided
Mhm.
off my path
Right.
to what I really came here to do.
Right.
And I know this is part of what I came here to do, is to clean this up,
Yes.
because they didn't do it. So it's left up to me to take responsibility to
Right.
course correct the direction of my lineage.
Right. Right.
So yeah. So
100.
yes, and I still work for the company.
Uh-huh.
And I'm at home with the same company. I wasn't at home then, but
Interesting.
I just know it has it, just even looking at today, I had a meeting outside of my home with my manager, and I wasn't going to sit by him. And I said, no, I'm gonna sit by him. So and I've had him before, and
Mhm.
I had him when I had the stroke. So it's just all connected.
Right.
I just
Of
know I
course.
gotta get to that core.
Right. So he could have some energy vibration that matches whatever this issue is in your lineage, or maybe he was even connected to another family part
Yes,
of the initial issue. Um,
yes.
and it's interesting because Aries is leadership, and you're saying it's my responsibility, and Saturn is responsibility, and Aries is taking the lead.
Mhm.
And so you feel this leadership energy around becoming a master. Saturn is mastering your family's ancestral trauma to get to the core of it so
Mhm.
that you can liberate yourself and then liberate all of your family. And it's interesting because the ruling planet of your fourth house is the moon, and your moon is in Cancer. And so you have this strong, deep connection to the river of your family. I'm going to recommend a flower essence to you.
Okay.
There is a company called Green Hope Farms, and they have a flower blend, a flower essence blend called Trio of Blood. I'll send the link to you. One of them is also Precious Blood. But there's a root called bloodroot,
Mhm.
and it also has black currant,
Mhm.
bloodroot, black currant, and borage flower. These three flowers that help to clean the family bloodline. Yeah, there,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And so I think this might, yeah, everyone write this down at home. This might really assist you since this is such a big important path for you.
Yeah, because I know that I'm AB positive.
Oh, interesting.
So I have a rare blood type. And I was told at one point that my blood wasn't the best.
Mhm.
So, and it's interesting because I'm not working on, but I'm cleaning out my kidneys and my liver.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I know that the liver is tied to the blood.
Mhm.
Um, so, and I just talked about this to myself today. I really got to clean out my liver and kidneys
Mhm.
for my blood to be clean. Now, what do I need to do? And here you are,
Right, right.
giving me what I need to do.
Right,
So
asking.
I know that I'm always guided to the right people.
Mhm.
And I know that we have tools. There's no way that God, source, creator would we wouldn't have any tools to help
Right.
us navigate.
Right.
So that's why I know that I'm at this core. I'm just right there because we will be moving into the Aquarius later on. Like it ain't now like tropical is saying that is coming up, right? So
Right.
I know I'm
actually,
preparing for that.
You hold on a second now, because I thought we were getting closer to it too. But according to this system, we're actually much farther from it.
It's like 700 years.
We got way more time, way more time in the Piscean era, which to me makes me think of love. Way
Yes.
more time around loving each other and having compassion for each other before we're able to handle technology on the level that the Aquarian age will bring. That's what and maybe that's what you were saying as well.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I just know that it's like I have one foot in and one foot out.
Right. Now midheaven is purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the top of our Christmas tree. It's the star on the Christmas tree. And so if we're looking to activate our purpose, which I think all hands up, I think we all are, we want to achieve what we're here for. Want to achieve that completion. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have to recognize that the roots create the fruits. And I learned this from T. Harv Eker. And so the roots of an astrology chart is down here in the 4th house, conjunct the IC. Okay. And so what do then you have your midheaven up here. It's doing great. It's got Jupiter close to it, which is expansion and fortune. It's the millionaire planet. It looks like you being successful with whatever it is you do. But then we come down into the root cellar and you've got Saturn, and Saturn is known as a karmic planet. It can reveal our samskaras. It can reveal our karma. It can reveal things that are unresolved, kind of like a workload,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a cart with a ton of stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
That's why we're like, Saturn return, got some things to deal with here, right? So Saturn down in the home space tells me there's some discipline, there's some work for you to accomplish to unleash your full potential. And that it's down here in the root cellar. That's what I pick up on. And I think you're already on track. I mean, it's already starting to unravel here. I definitely, one of my specialties is working with ancestry. I came in with a whole lot of ancestral stuff to clear. I have ancestors who came over on the Mayflower, and a lot of Puritans in my lineage, a lot of religious folk, and they went through a lot of persecution. So I've come in with a ton of my own ancestral work to do. So that's one thing I specialize in clearing. And so when I work with someone, if I were to work with you, for instance, we would tap into and test how many ancestors back is the core issue. And then we would also identify what emotion is it that's blocking the flow. And I sort of see it as like blocks in the river.
And it's interesting you say river because in talking about Pisces, I have my ankles have spider veins.
Interesting.
So
You also have your Chiron there.
yeah.
I would circle this Saturn here,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would circle this Chiron. And I'd say that's like a nice, good workload. Those two areas, like you study them, you learn about them, it's going to give you a lot of insight. Odie just posted in the chat. She asked, what do you do if there's no planets in the 4th house? So I just wanted to share with everyone, if you don't have planets in a house, it's okay. It's okay. Like you don't have to be That doesn't mean there's nothing happening in that house. It just means it's free from the influence of planetary energies. It's kind of like a blank canvas. You kind of get to have more of a ability to activate it. It also means maybe there's less of a focus for you in this lifetime. What you can do to find out more, to fill in the screen so you have a better sense of it, is you would go to the sign that rules it and find out where that is. So Odie, when we come to your chart, I'll go into that more with you. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear you, Odie. Okay. So Patrice, any other questions here, like from the last 3 days, from tonight, anything you're looking for more clarity on? Feel free.
No, that confirmed what I've always known, that I'm literally right where I'm supposed to be. I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work since 2010,
Mhm.
but I'm just feeling like there's something else.
Mhm.
Well,
I have to share something. So Odie asked, she said, okay, well, what are some things that make a really good astrologer?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing is the constellation of Aquarius. So if you have Aquarius placed well in your chart, Aquarius relates to astrology. It's like the sign that you know, it's all about the new age, it's all about humanity, right? And your destiny point is in Aquarius. So someone who has their destiny point, their sun, their moon, their Mercury, or some other main planet in Aquarius, that is going to make you predisposed to be pretty good with astrology, because one facet of astrology is technology, right? It's kind of a technical thing. It's like the stars, it's energy. Aquarius is the energy body. And then you also have your sun in Scorpio, and Scorpio is the traditional ruler of astrology.
oh,
So you actually have a chart very geared towards being an astrologer, because you have Virgo, you love a lot of Virgo, so you're very analytical. You have the sun in Scorpio, so you're very deep. You like to get the answers, you like to dive in, and so that Scorpio energy is really important for reading astrology charts. You also have your destiny point in Aquarius, so you love connecting with lots of people and creating a synthesis. So it's not just about you, it's about everyone,
mm-hmm.
bringing everyone together. So if you were wondering if you would make a great astrologer, you definitely have a lot of very good placements for that type of work. So just wanted to use your chart as an example to answer Odie's question, because you also even have a lot of Aquarius in your second house, which tells me you could probably make a lot of money online with like an astrology business, right? So if you're wanting to learn another career, that might be a fun side project or side thing to do,
Yeah.
to bring in, to see if that might help you release any constriction. And that's one reason I'm out here, is that I know a lot of people really want to get out of the hustle and bustle of a regular 9 to 5 work environment. And I found that reading astrology charts can actually be highly lucrative, and you can help people. And the two of those things combined is just awesome. It's just so cool. And so I was
So,
like, yeah, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
you're
I always talk. Um,
You're
so
fine.
this could be a way for me to work with people in their money,
You could.
to
Definitely.
go deep
Yes.
where the pattern of their money is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sister, you could make that your specialty, no problem. And that's one cool thing about charts, is that they can be super highly focused, right? They can be what you can tailor it towards whatever you want. Do you want to work with business execs? Do you want to work with corporate leaders? Do you want to work with people and their money? Do you want to work with other healers? Who do you want to focus on? I mean, it's infinite what you can do.
Okay. Yeah, I know I have to do something.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel more restriction where I work.
Yep.
Even though I work from home,
Mm-hmm.
I I can just, because of what's happening in the economy and
Mhm.
all the shenanigans happening, right?
It's a highly unstable time for so many people. And so
And
I got into this during the pandemic when I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't talk to anyone in person, right? I had to find some way to create an income and create a living. And I was like, I can go online and I can share astrology. And so that's how this all got created. And so it's kind of a neat business because you can do it from pretty much any location that there's Wi-Fi.
yeah,
You can set your own hours and you can be helping people at the same time that you're earning income to pay for your groceries and, take care of your children. And it's a really amazing business opportunity as well as being a soul felt, soul led mission type work.
yeah,
Um, and it's really not that difficult. It's really about just learning the symbols and the signs and then seeing how they create a picture. And then you just interpret. You're like an interpreter. That's kind of what it is. So if you can learn a language, you can learn astrology. And coach, you know too.
This is a language
It
it
itself.
is. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So this is totally possible for anyone who wants to. I've found that a lot of people don't think it is. It seems too complicated, it's overwhelming, but at the end of the day, if you just break it down into the components, it's really quite accessible for anyone.
I would really use it too for my boys. One's nine. I have three, but one of them's 19 and 22, and they're at that. When COVID hit, they got lost, so they don't have a direction,
Right.
right? They're slowly moving into it, but they're not here to. They're here to do new things.
Right.
So the old way of doing things, they're not fitting into that. So I want to be able to like kind of guide them, give them little hints of things. I know they got to learn their lessons, but they're kind of lost right now. And I this could possibly be something that I could assist with them.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. I love working with young people. I had
Yeah.
one client who his mom worked with me and she loved my session so much she had me work with her son who was 18 and just about to graduate from high school. Sweetest young man, just full of life and just joyful. And I was able to look at his chart with him and I was able to affirm and confirm everything he already knew about who he was and what he was here for.
Yeah.
And then he went off to college and is having the best time of his life because he feels completely lined up.
Mhm.
It was kind of miraculous, right? Someone so young, so clear already. They didn't have all these preconceptions about what they could do. Going out believing in himself at 110%. I mean, it was a good feeling. When I got off that phone call, I was like, I just got to help this young man on his path, pursuing his purpose and just support him and, encourage him to go for those things that maybe he was a little hesitant about. I was like, you got this. You can do it. And he was like, yeah. And it was so great. So I know if
Yeah.
you wanted to gear this towards your sons or to young people, it's so off the charts powerful. And Jupiter's in your house of children right now. So that's the millionaire planet. Interesting. That's a good sign. That's a good
Yes.
sign.
Thank you, Lotus.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
of course. Of course. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Anna, how you doing out there? Yep, I was like, Anna needs to ask some questions now. I could feel you. Okay, let me find you. Yes. There you are. Okay. These beautiful flores. Okay. Okay. So what was your question?
Well, since we're talking about the North Node, the purpose of life, I just wanted to mix the ascendant because since the whole ascendant changed for me because of the new
Yes.
chart, so I wanted to know myself better in that, and then mix it with my North Node and South Node, like my purpose.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
I'm in a change right now, a huge shift. So I want to see where it's going.
Awesome. So in the next course I'm going to be teaching, one of the classes is called the 5 Pillars of Purpose. And we will go through the 5 aspects in a chart that nail purpose for everyone. So tonight, I'm just going to focus on the North Node and the Ascendant, but I wanted you to know that there are 5 places that when you get those all nailed in, give you the full picture of purpose. Because I used to think it was just the destiny point or this point, but after all these years, I've realized that our purpose is multifaceted a lot of times. And that when you have all 5 of those things, it gives you this really inclusive view of yourself. So just wanted you to know there's more to it, right? But the destiny point is huge. Like you could just take the destiny point or any one of those 5 things and be totally on track to a life-changing moment just as it is. So let's dive into it. Let's see what we can unveil for you. So at the moment of your birth, the constellation of Taurus, which is where the millionaire planet is right now, it's where the sun is about to move. So just a little bit of context for what's happening in the world for you right now is that the sun is in your 11th, about to come into your 12th. The moon is in your 12th, and Jupiter is in your 12th house. So the 12th house it's very internal.
Mm.
It's like the womb. It's like the womb-like space. I often see people who are meditation teachers,
Mm.
yoga teachers, people who lead people on inner journeys, like shamans or guides, having a lot of planets in the 12th house or the 8th house. And you have both. So both of these, so each sign is associated with an element, and so is each house.
Mm.
So the 12th house is associated with water,
Mm.
so is the 8th house, and so is the 4th house. So knowing that, we get the combination here of water and earth.
Mm.
Okay. So you have a very grounded internal landscape. Right. So I think of the 12th house as like where you go when you meditate, or where you would go if you were to do a visualization and go within. So what would you see there? What would the environment look like? What kind of dwellings would you see? Right. So someone with water and water might just see a water kingdom. But with water and earth, you might see a beautiful flowing river or the ocean, and then maybe a very nice cob house or hillsides, right? So a lot of rock, like a lot of earth, maybe lots of plants growing, lots of food and fruit and flowers, very luxurious, very lush environment inside of yourself. So it's a very strong goddess energy. It's very life-filled. It's like this beautiful flower. Taurus relates to everything that grows in the earth, right? So flowers and plants and nature and fruits and vegetables and just the bounty. So within you is this huge bounty. So it's an inner house, even though it's in the outer houses. It's an inner house. It's about the self. It's about your own return back to yourself. And so it means that you have this incredible gift where, okay, so it has a twin, right? It has its mirror, which is the past.
Mm.
So you came in with a lot of experiences of intensity, chaos, drama, um, uh,
Mhm.
like crises, like a lot of crises, like a lot of like intense trauma and drama, just like growth through the tears and phoenix energy.
Mm.
And it's in the house of work and service. And so you maybe have done a lot of work helping people who've been through crises and drama and challenge. And you've maybe done a lot of work as well. Like you've maybe worked very hard, like given a lot, always giving, always working, always being of service.
Mm.
So when you have the South Node in the sixth house, Virgo's house, work and service,
Yeah.
you've already given enough work this lifetime.
Mm.
And I mean, many other lifetimes, you've already worked enough. This is
Mm.
the house of work and service. And so when the destiny point is in the house of the 12th house, which is like the cosmic return or the cosmic womb, there's no work in the 12th house. There's no like grind. There's no schedule. There is no need to do this, need to accomplish that. It's just pure beingness. It's just pure space. No deadlines,
Mm.
no strong work parameters or structure. There is no structure. For someone with their South Node in the sixth house, this can feel terrifying because you're so used to parameters and boundaries and borders. And so the biggest challenge for the destiny point in the 12th house is rest, just giving yourself time to be and just giving yourself time to enjoy life, like to paint, to sing. Me gusta bailar, me gusta, tocar la música, right? It's all about the enjoyment of life with Taurus. And then the 12th house, the spaciousness of being. And so you've come from so much work and so much giving and so much intensity and trauma around every corner and intensity. And so
Mm.
what the universe is telling you is you don't have to do that anymore. It's saying you can shut the door on all the drama, all the intensity, all the chaos and crises, and you can open the door to more spaciousness, just more meditation. It's kind of like giving yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day away from a routine, away from having to do anything, go on a walk and smell a flower. It's asking you to make time for the seemingly unimportant moments of life,
Mm.
to just be. They say when the destiny point is like this, sixth house and 12th, that you have given so much in other lifetimes that you come in with your cup a little bit empty. Like you already gave it all.
Mm.
And you get depleted easily. And so what that's telling you is that you need to work on filling up your own cup as the priority, not as the last resort, and to schedule your life more around giving to people in a way that feels spacious, that feels light. So I'm seeing things like art and music and food and beauty and just enjoyment to like take your focus off of the trauma and the intensity and to turn to stability and security and grounding, like gardening,
Yeah.
like walking in nature, connecting to the earth, and then perhaps leading others. And this is supported by your midheaven, which is your Christmas tree star, being in Pisces, which
Mm.
is music and art and spirituality. It rules the 12th house.
Mhm.
So you're
Okay.
really being asked to get out of the hardness and the difficulty and the challenge and to get into where you feel safe, where you feel good. And this is so challenging because the South Node in Virgo is so used to giving, 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 working, 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 that it literally sometimes cannot turn off that mode of being. It's like, what do you mean go on a walk? There's so much work to be done. What do you mean paint a picture? There's so much people, there's so many people to help.
Mm.
But God's saying you already helped them all like 1,000 times over. What about you? What about your inner world? What about helping their inner world, right? So teaching meditation, teaching art, teaching creativity without needing to have to go so deep, without having to travel into the dark caves of people's consciousness anymore. Because that's what Scorpio does.
Mm.
Now, for Patrice, with your sun in Scorpio, you want to go into the deep, deep passageways. You're like, what do you mean not go in the deep? She's like, no, that's where I want to go. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So do you see how we're all so different?
Mm-hmm.
And yet we often wonder why no one thinks like us. Well, it's because we're different. We have a different makeup. We have a different configuration. And so that's why knowing this is so valuable for our work, for our relationships, for our friends, for our families. Can you imagine if you knew how you related to everyone else in your life and you knew why they were the way that they were and why they couldn't stop wanting to go deep? Like, oh, my sun is in Scorpio. Of course you want to go deep.
Yeah.
So this is why this is literally a $1 million conversation.
Mm.
As
And
what
with my, oh, sorry, and with my, because since the sun is where we have to go also, it's in the third house though. Isn't that communicating? It's like the opposite of inward, and
well,
there I don't know how to relate those.
yeah, great question. Great question. So this everything under that middle line, everything under the horizon line is inner. It's the inner world.
Oh, okay.
So the sun is still inner. It wants you to shine in Leo, but here's where this, so the third house is like the container that that planet operates in.
Mm.
So your sun wants you to shine with your neighbors, with your friends, with your family, with your brothers and your sisters, local,
Mm.
like in the hub, in the hub. Make it easy, right? Make it like a community performance where you have a class where you teach art or you teach music or you lead some type of work that's beautiful because Taurus is beauty. So shining through your work around, and maybe you add a little meditation as you speak about beauty. But it's like this big encouragement for you to, at the same time though, your moon is in the 8th house, which is Scorpio's house. So you still have a shamanic energy. You can't probably ever get away from that. And you feel nurtured by depth. But it's in Capricorn. So how could you create a transformational business where you're very structured, you're very disciplined, and you're very organized with sharing spiritual work, with sharing beauty, with sharing music and art
Mm.
without it being the grind? That makes sense.
Yeah, because all that you just said, remember I told you at the beginning, I'm a Feng Shui consultant, so it has to do with
Oh,
beautifying the homes and the energy. So
yes.
it's that spiritual energy of the homes and also the beauty of it, because I love all the colors, the flowers, the decorations, and that 12th house of the earth. Like for me, the ideal place is to swim, but in a lake where you have green and trees around it and
Yeah.
the lake. It's different
Yeah.
from the beach.
Yes.
For me, it's not a place I would feel comfortable with all that sun there. But
Right.
in a lake,
Yeah.
that for me, when I do that, is like I feel I'm being baptized or renewed. I don't know, reborn.
Yeah.
It's very intense, the water thing. That Pisces there, so it started to make sense there.
Yeah. Yeah. You have the destiny point in the house of Pisces, and you have your midheaven in Pisces.
Yeah. So
Um,
that's my ideal world, is a house on a lake.
Yes, and you have your house of the home, which typically if people do feng shui, they'll have something
Yeah, Venus
amplified.
beautifying a home.
Yes, and it's the billionaire planet. So
Oh,
I'm getting you're gonna have a lot of abundance this year.
oh God, I'm 58 years old, so I'm just starting on my real mission in life. I used to work before 9 to 5 and all that for many years. So now I'm really doing my thing, which is not common, so it's very hard. But with now networks and all that, I'm just gonna put
Yeah.
myself out there, like I said. But I'm very insecure about it because I'm very, you know.
You are so beautiful, Anna. You're so beautiful. And I look at your chart and I see you having the ruler of your destiny point, Venus, in the fourth house of the home, which is beautifying the home. It's also the health of the home. And I see how 100% this is such a great mission for you. And Leo is shining. So you could shine in a newspaper, you could shine in an ad, you could shine in social media, on Instagram. Get out there because you're so destined for this. Like it's so aligned and the job wasn't. The job just was not
Wow.
aligned for you. So you're learning. The destiny point can take our whole lives to learn. So you've just been learning. And now you don't look 58. You look very young. You look in your 30s or 40s at the top. So you just do not listen to age. Age is just a number.
I know, yeah.
And you go out there because, I would hire you in a heartbeat. You feel like someone I would want to hire to work on my home.
Oh, thank you. I'm just so passionate about it. So
Exactly.
it's
Exactamundo.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
you have
Huh?
Venus, the billionaire planet, in the house of the community and society. So this is a great year for you to go out there.
Yes, I just started. So, oh, thank you for confirming all that because I'm doing it anyways. It's like you throw yourself, into the abyss. But I
You have
just
wings. You have
right.
wings, Anna. You have wings like unicorn. Okay, like Pegasus. You're just going to fly. You're going to
I just
fly.
can't see it any other way, so I'm just gonna do it because
You
it's
have,
one,
yeah.
if I don't do it now, then no, I need to really do my passion. So
Yeah.
thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Yes, awesome, Anna. We cheer you on. You've got this. No problem. It's
Thank
done. It is good. It is complete. These are amazing. Is everyone gaining some cool insights here, having some kind of inspiring moments? Yeah. Okay, so Bibi, I feel your presence, my friend. Do you have any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
No, well, okay, not really at this moment. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we come back or
Can you
okay.
hear me?
You come up with some questions, we come back to you, okay?
Oh. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, I got the volume all the way down. Well, no, at this moment, I really don't have some questions. I'm learning for all of you guys.
Yeah. Okay. We will come back. I feel Odie having a long list of questions, so we will get to Odie's questions and we will come back. Okay. Very good, BB. I'm glad you're here. We still have to find out how we did with the coach's chart. Okay, Odie. All right.
Hello.
Questions.
Maybe we can start with the other charts that you were doing that caught my interest was the Saturn. As I'm having, I think it's around 60. We have a second Saturn return,
That's right.
and mine's in Aquarius, which on the other system, I think it was in Pisces. So can you tell me a little bit about that and where it's positioned? Because Saturn is what gives you difficulty.
I'm yawning already. All
Oh,
right.
geez.
Well, no, it's actually, you know, people say positive things about some things and negative things about others, but the truth is, every single thing is both.
Yes.
There is no thing that is only positive and no thing that is purely negative. They have a combination. So Saturn gets a bad rap. Most people avoid Saturn, but would you want someone to build a foundation and take their time and plan it and get it really solid before they built it? Or would you want them to rush in and not pay attention and not notice things and not do the best that they could? So Saturn represents our mastery at building foundations. Building foundations. So you have Saturn in Aquarius your whole life. That means Aquarius is all about the new age. So you feel a strong resonance to building a new age foundation. And it's funny because that could mean a couple things, couldn't it? It could mean building a new age foundation of a house or a building, but it could literally be building a foundation, right? That raises money or does charities for new age things like spirituality or business or whatever it is you want to focus on. Did you have a question, Anna?
Yeah, sorry. It's because I wanted to, since you're talking about the Saturn return,
Yep.
and I'm also going through that in Aquarius. So I just
Oh.
wanted to add, it has to do exactly what I just told you before, that I'm starting all over and about the foundation where I started to study first for years. And then now I'm just getting out there. For me, the Saturn return is just a whole new way of living in my profession. That for me is the Saturn, because I'm also in the Saturn return right now in my chart. That's it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have two people who have Saturn in Aquarius. And so what?
At what age is it? At 58 or 60?
I think it's different depending on where the Saturn is.
Right.
And so right now, Saturn is literally around 18 degrees.
That's where mine is.
Okay, so they're a couple degrees apart. Saturn moves very slowly. So it's possible for people born 1-2 years apart to have Saturn return around the same time. Okay. So what does it mean? It's going to mean different things for both of you. Okay. So I don't want this to be a blanket of because you both have Saturn and Aquarius, it means the same thing. It's going to mean totally different things because Anna has her Saturn in the 9th house of teaching and travel. Okay. And you have your Saturn in the 12th house of internal, right? Your spiritual connection. Okay. So I think they both need to be handled a bit differently. Even though they're exactly the same, it can be very confusing to try and do both at the same time. So let's peel back the layers here. We can look at both. So first of all, what is Saturn in Aquarius? Well, what is Saturn? Does anyone know what Saturn is? What is Saturn? Who wants to take a jump at it?
I believe they call the granddaddy, time restrictions. That's all I think I know.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. I always think of Saturn walking into the club or the party and he has a briefcase and he's dressed impeccably well, like with a suit and a tie, and maybe he has gray hair and a watch, but he looks impeccable. There is not one hair out of place. He is just so structured, so organized, and curated to the highest level of perfection. Now, people who are in the brotherhood or secret societies, that is sort of a Saturnian structure about climbing the ladder to success, both material and spiritual success. Kind of like climbing to the top of the pyramid. Enlightenment, right? That's really what Saturn is about, is achieving enlightenment, but it is focused on all of the real world steps that we have to take to get there. So it starts with the foundation. It starts with the bottom level of the pyramid if we're ever to get to the top. So I often think of Saturn like a builder who's very conscious and aware of what they're building. And there's no room for wishy-washy. There's no room for doubt. There's no room for mistakes. There's only success, right? It's all about accuracy and success and building on a solid foundation.
Discipline.
Discipline. Yes. It can be hard work, but it's also the level of work you put in is the level of success that you will receive.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you add in the fact that it's an Aquarius and you get two very different energies. If Aquarius was a person, they might have multicolored hair that's dyed and spiked like a mohawk. They might have multiple piercings. They might be wearing a rainbow flag. They might be wearing all kinds of different patterns. And they show up with a Nikola Tesla invention, and they eat vegan, grass, raw food, right? They eat something super unusual, and they're working on building a retreat center, many retreat centers all over the world for sustainability and for health and for bringing together humanity. Okay, so we've got two very different energies together with Saturn and Aquarius, and that's what everyone is dealing with this year. The restructuring, building the structure for the future. So for those of you with Saturn and Aquarius right now, y'all have been working on this your whole lives, wanting to have a business, wanting to have a structure that was based on the new age, that was based on the humanity and uplifting humanity, on serving the planet. And so this is a big year for all of you because you've maybe been waiting your whole life to finally put into motion, building the foundation for that which you want to create for the evolvement of the world. Right. And so having it in your 12th house OD is about you building a new age structure around spirituality. So this could be building a spiritual business that maybe guides people through energy work, maybe guides them through meditation, going within. You might use technology. You might use some type of restructuring of the body. Saturn relates to the bones. Okay. So this could also relate to your own bones, needing to be really paying attention to your bone system, to your teeth and to the bones, and to making sure they're at optimal levels, giving them the love and care that they need. Right? But it also can relate to the bone system or structure of whatever it is you're wanting to build. What is that? Well, New Age community, New Age society that is spiritual in nature. So you might be someone who wants to create a retreat center for people to come in community and work on becoming successful together. You might be very tribe oriented around 12th house is retreat. It's rejuvenation. It's replenishment. You have a lot here, right? You've got Venus, the billionaire planet. You've got Chiron. which is the water. And so I would recommend that you probably want to build this retreat center near the water, that where you're moving might not just be about you, but it might be about what you're here to create. And you've known this, you've been waiting for this. This is not something that is totally new for you. This has been building for your whole lifetime. That Saturn is also opposite your Mars. And we already talked about how Mars is the ruler of your second house of money. And it's in health and healing. And so it's being a leader of health and healing to help bring together a like-minded community, perhaps having a structure for this new age community that will help people to achieve success and mastery. So there's a certain seriousness. There's a certain groundedness. There's a certain structure at the same time that it's in the energy of the new age. So bringing the new age together with structure, with authority, and with retreat, rejuvenation, and the spiritual path. It's also near your nurturer. And so you really get an opportunity here to nurture that authority energy in your life and to nurture other people in sort of like a, you know, like a very loving authority, right? And so when you have a community or you have a retreat center, there needs to be people who are in charge. So you would naturally be someone who would be an authority or in charge with Saturn in Aquarius. Because what do you do when you bring together a bunch of Aquarian people, have an Aquarian community? You can't just let them all run wild. You have to have some type of discipline, some type of structure, some type of foundation, and some type of organization. So that's what you're bringing together, are those two worlds, which make you very good leaders of these types of organizations. You're someone who could create a business around something new age based. And the fact that Saturn is returning there right now means that this is also happening in the collective. And so a lot of people are being mobilized around taking their new age vision and making it real and making it practical, making it structured and making it disciplined. Yeah, powerful, powerful energy. Yeah. Okay. Questions, comments about that?
Yeah, it's a definite déjà vu. Yeah, so something I've been brewing for at least 20 years.
Mhm.
But maybe it's going to give me the motivation to actually, with the mix of wanting to move, wanting to help others, all the knowledge that I've, especially through the injury, all the courses I've taken, I think it can make it. I envisioned, without knowing, over 20 years ago at a 4-day breathwork, say retreat, and it was exactly that. You had to kind of like create a business or an idea and see how the reaction of others, how it made you feel, so you would go. And just came out of my mouth, I want a house that's called I even had the name, a woman's wellness workshop.
Yep.
It just came out like that, and it's just like, here it comes full circle. Is that
100
crazy?
It's perfect. It's perfect alignment.
Wow.
Perfect
And
alignment.
the timing of all that, it stays how long? Like Saturn, I know, is a slow planet, but the
Slow.
elements, yeah.
So it's going to be in Aquarius the rest of the year. And then it will move out into Pisces next year.
Which is also the same type of themes.
So it will go
Of,
through your Chiron, which will be, okay, it's time to heal this, which
mhm.
is probably the thing that's been blocking you from great wealth, because Venus is the billionaire planet.
Yes, because now I'm immobilized. I can't move. I'm always in pain. Half my days are trying to float in the water to alleviate the pain, trying to heal the
Mhm.
physical, but I know I have to go to see the other like the Chinese doctor of energy, soul, etc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I also would be happy to do a one-on-one session with you.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I was thinking,
my
because I
guess,
see like I have that moon in was it Libra with Pluto?
it's with
Is that
Neptune,
oh, Neptune? Okay, and that's in the 8th. So
right?
that's what I was trying to see, like what aspects could bring my deep passion for astrology.
Oh
So I
yes,
thought it
yes,
was,
yes. Moon and Neptune in the 8th house, definitely. And there's another thing I want to add in that I haven't mentioned yet, and I was waiting for your chart, Odie, to talk about this.
yes.
So astrology is kind of an interesting blend of depth and intensity, like Scorpio, Virgo, rational mind and critical thinking, and intuition and the ability to be an oracle or to channel from source, ideally, the information. So with so many planets in Pisces, you're very good at channeling information, like spiritual energy. So that would make you very strong at that facet of reading a chart. And then with Moon in the 8th house, it means you're very deep. So you're very investigative. So you really like to go deep on those subjects. And then you have Virgo on the 7th house. And so you communicate with partners in sort of a like you're very like precise with the people you connect with. So that would be like you're, reading charts for others as opposed to reading charts for yourself. So yes, I could see you being very good at this work. That's for sure.
It could be one of the workshops at the retreat,
Of course.
for
Oh,
instance.
it's such a
For
great
instance.
thing to talk about. Anna, did you have a question? I saw you. Were you getting excited or do you have a question? You're just
She wants
excited.
she wants to feng shui it.
She does. Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have a big retreat center. You can do all kinds of stuff at, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing, Lord, is that I definitely agree. I think Audie will be fantastic. She already has like more than the basics and she understands. I can see the flow in her already. She'll be really good at it.
Oh, so nice of you to say. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's sweet.
From one Mars and Leo to another.
Yeah. That one surprised me because I always thought I was Mars in Virgo, which was like more calculated and interested in health things, but I think I have it in Leo.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in the house of Virgo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. So things that are always health related. Yeah.
Okay, so Saturn opposite Mars could be the restriction on your mobility because Mars is the body and Saturn
Okay.
is restriction. So
So when that shifts, then there could be a change in my situation, let's say.
that's very possible. Or finding the core cause of this. This usually when you have a karmic planet like Saturn with Mars, which is kind of an aggravator of energy. Sometimes, not always, sometimes very helpful to take action and have leadership. But having Mars there, Saturn can be karmic. And so finding the possibly past life roots of potentially where you faced restriction from authority around taking action and leadership with your vision and your mission. Feels like maybe something happened in that 12th house feet, right? Mobility of the body has not been resolved yet. And it usually always boils down to forgiveness, which is always the most difficult when we've been hurt. Is what I
Yes.
found. So it can be very helpful to have an energy healing practitioner work with you, hold your hand through the process of healing, whatever that is. But what I've found with my healing work is once we identify the placement of the planets that's creating the issue, we can then pretty quickly just test and see what's causing it. You know, how many lifetimes back, how many ancestors back, you know, what was the story, and then, you know, tune into it and see what emerges. Yeah.
Can I ask, what is that A0 that's in her ascendant mean that we all have on the charts? A0 and
So-
A2.
Yeah, so those are different asteroids. So I'll just tell you now what they all are. Okay, so you can take out your pen if you want, and I'll just list them all. So A0 is, just give me 1 minute. I love to have the asteroids. They're very, very interesting, very helpful. Okay, so A0 is here. A1. Well, A1 is Eros, which is the asteroid of passion. Can be what we, you know, crave as passion in our lives. And A0 is Psyche. And Psyche was Eros's mate. So it's actually a really good story. So see here. You guys want to hear the story of Eros and Psyche?
Sure.
Okay, so Eros and Psyche were lovers, but how they became lovers was sort of interesting. So Psyche was a beautiful goddess, immortal though. She was a woman. She was so beautiful that all the people started worshiping her over the goddess Venus, or Aphrodite, the goddess of love. And this made Aphrodite really angry that they were worshiping someone that wasn't a goddess, right? They were worshiping a human woman. And so she sent out a decree that they had to sacrifice Psyche to a monster. And so they created a whole funeral march to carry Psyche to the monster, and everyone's wailing and crying. Woo! They're about to lose their daughter to this monster. And so Aphrodite had asked her son, Eros, the, you know, Cupid. Eros is another name for Cupid, to come and to take care of her. Like, you know, kill her. But as Eros was gazing at her preparing, one of his arrows pricked him, and he fell in love with Psyche. And so here they are wailing and crying that Psyche's about to be sacrificed to this beast. And they take her up to the top of the mountain, and there's a great wind, and she's taken and she disappears. Well, unbeknownst to her or her whole family, she was taken by Eros, the god, you know, this Cupid, god of love, with his wings and his arrows, and taken to his estate, let's say, in the heavenly realm. Huge estate, huge palace, where there were servants, but they were invisible. And so she was taken care of by invisible servants. She was fed, she was dressed, she was treated like a princess or a queen. And at night, Eros would come to her, but he would turn off the light. And so she kind of started falling in love with this monster because she didn't know any better. And she didn't know what to expect once those lights were off, what would happen. So she just kind of went with what happened. And so eventually she fell in love with this mysterious being. And she decided that she needed to contact her sisters and her family to let them know that she was still alive and she was okay. And so some magic enabled her to contact them. Maybe they opened up a scrying pool and were able to talk through the pool of water or something like that, you know, magical. And they were like, what happened? You know, are you okay? You're with this horrible monster. And she's like, well, it's actually not so bad. You know, there's good food and I'm kind of in love with him. And they're like, what? And they're like wailing, like, what are you in love with? Is this monster? And so they concocted a plan that one night when he had come to her rooms, she would light a candle and she would find out who he was, because she still didn't know. Now, the issue was that Eros had made her promise that she would never look at him. She would never turn the light on. He'd made her swear to never do this. So she knew that if she did it, she might get into some trouble with him. Okay. But she just couldn't hold back her curiosity. And so one night she went and she lighted a candle, and the sight that she beheld was of the most beautiful God-man being she'd ever seen. Like, it was so beautiful that her candle dripped wax onto his naked chest. And he awoke with a yell. Ah! And he looked at her and said, "You betrayed me. You promised me you would never look upon me." And she's like, "Well, what do you expect me to do?" Right? Anyways, he storms out of the palace and swears he'll never see her again. Oh, her heart was just ripped out of her chest. She's so hurt, so upset that she'd lost the man she loved, had walked out the door. And so in despair, she sought out Aphrodite, his mom. Now, Aphrodite was still a little bit miffed at her for having been so beautiful that the people were worshiping her. And so she was very tough on her, and she said, "If you can complete these many tasks that are impossible," of course, she didn't say they were impossible, they were impossible tasks, little things, collecting this many hairs from the golden sheepskin on the island and doing this and doing that, going down into the underworld and gathering this flower or this rock, then she would be allowed to talk to Eros again. And Aphrodite had no other choice. She knew there was no way to do this. She knew there was impossible for a mere mortal woman to do all of the things that she was being asked to do. And yet, she had no other choice. Her heart, her soul yearned for this love. And so she set out, not knowing how, but having complete dedication to make her dreams come true. And so she set out, and it was the moment she began her journey, everything in the universe conspired to bring her what she needed. Even the ants and the wind and the animals and the people, everyone, when she needed them, came. And in almost no time, she had completed every task. And it was like something higher had been behind her. The love in her heart, her desire, her dream was so strong that it drew everything to her. And in no time at all, she went back to Aphrodite, kind of in a state of shock that it had actually worked. And she gave all the things that she'd been asked to collect, and Aphrodite was stunned. She, in a million years, never expected to see Psyche ever again. She thought she'd gotten rid of her for good. And Psyche just calmly handed her the things she'd asked for. And Aphrodite was good to her word. She knew she couldn't lie or cheat or, do the wrong thing. And so she brought Psyche back together with Eros. And she was gifted to be half immortal so that she could be with Eros for all of eternity. And so that is probably the only true love happy ending story in Greek mythology you'll probably ever hear. And it's between Psyche, the goddess of, a being of great love and great beauty. So Psyche in your chart represents where you're very psychic. Did you all hear that?
Who was it?
It was firecrackers.
Oh,
So I guess we have some confirmation about how great that story is. Also,
yeah, that's so cool.
so Psyche was this goddess of this being of love who had amazing psychic ability. She was tuned into something higher. She's very Piscean. So wherever you have A0 or Psyche in your chart, that represents where you're very tuned in. You have a great psychic capacity. And wherever Eros is represents your passion. So this can be your love nature. This is Psyche and Eros. This is very interesting, are like the higher octaves of Venus and Mars. So they're a higher frequency to Venus and Mars. And so if you're doing a love compatibility reading, and it's so interesting because BB had just messaged me and said, how do you find love compatibility in a chart? And I thought, oh, and then this came through. So very interesting timing. You want to look for the Psyche and Eros of the two people. If you're really looking for a spiritual love, like a higher love, more than just sort of physical sexual attraction, which is more what Venus and Mars represent, more base sensual energy, then you look for Psyche and Eros, and they're the two kind of lovebirds of the astrology chart. And they can show us where we're very psychic and also where we're very passionate, our love nature. Yeah. What is the A2? Yeah, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that because my software is not have. Oh, I do have it. Okay. Yay. A2. Okay. Okay. This is good. Okay. Are you ready for this? So A2 is Demeter. So most people say, right, every planet rules a sign. Most people say that Mercury rules Virgo. That's what most people say. I, however, say something else. I say that Demeter and another planet, Ceres, rule Virgo. Yeah. So if you have Virgo in your chart and you want to know where the planet is that rules it, you would look to A2. And when I look at your chart, BB, you have a lot of planets in Virgo. You have a lot. So what is Virgo? Virgo is service. Virgo is the Divine Mother. In Babylon, Virgo represented the first mother. The first mother. The mother that gave birth to the first humans. So it relates to midwifery. It relates to women's health. It relates to health and healing in general and herbology. It relates to being of service, caring for the family and all of its needs, right? Tending to the needs of the family, their food, their diet, their nutrition, their exercise, their schedule, their routine. And BB, you asked me about partnership and compatibility. And there's something really special happening between you and your husband in your two charts. Would it be okay for me to share this? Okay, go ahead and unmute for a moment.
Okay.
So one very powerful way to discover love compatibility is between the sun and the moon. And tomorrow is going to be all about love and relationships and whatever else you want to talk about. But we're going to start tonight with a little preview of what we'll be looking at. And so BB, you and how long have you and Coach been together? If you don't mind me asking.
Uf, ¿cuántas, Georgie's? 32 years.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so beautiful. And so I actually have read a book that talked about studying marriage and studying relationship. And they studied couples that had been together for many, 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 many years, like you. And they found a striking pattern, which is that the sun and moon were conjunct or opposite between you and your significant other. And so how many people would like to have a relationship that really worked? right? That really lasted, that was very compatible, right? I think all of us.
Yeah.
And so Moon in Virgo, okay, I just want everyone to notice this. And then we get to Coach George, Coach Gio, and he has his sun in Virgo. He has Uranus, he has Pluto, he has how many things in Virgo? Yeah. And so, and he has his moon in Pisces. So his moon in Pisces is directly opposite his wife. And so their moons are attracted to each other, right? Emotion, how they feel. They are opposite. So there's polarity. Sometimes they don't understand each other because her emotional field is in Virgo. Okay, that's earth. Whereas his emotional field is in water. And so learning how to see each other's point of view can be challenging sometimes, but it also is highly attractive. Okay, it's very, very highly attractive. When we have a planet opposite sign to someone, very like magnets, like positive and negative together. So for a man and woman's relationship, it's actually very powerful to have that in the chart. Okay. So we also see you have your sun moon midpoint in Virgo, and you have Lilith. So you have a lot of energy in Virgo, and so does Coach Gio-sama. And so the two of you have this matching focus around health, around service, around caring for people, health, healing.
Mhm.
A very strong Virgo focus. You're very giving. You both give a lot to others. You're of service to others a lot. Right? So that's very powerful. So you look to where the sun is and you look to where the moon is. And tomorrow we can do a much deeper dive on this. But what's really cool is that your asteroid of marriage is at 33 degrees of Leo. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 degrees away from Virgo. And Coach's sun is 1 degree of Virgo. And so your asteroid of marriage is exactly conjunct his sun.
Oh.
So for you, you know, he feels or felt or is like the one, right? You feel that. You feel that sense. Something else that's very interesting, muy interesante, es that his partnership house has the sun moon midpoint in the house of marriage. The sun moon midpoint is the balance between the sun and the moon. And so it's a very sacred point for us about who we are at our core essence. And we look at your chart and you have the sun in the house of relationship.
Oh.
So for both of you, relationship is muy importante. It's muy importante for both of you. It's something that you both value. It's important for your life. Now, if neither one of you had the planet in that house, it might not be as importante.
Mhm.
See? So it's very interesting how the two of you have that bond and how your marriage has amazing. 33 years, that's absolutely amazing. Yes, and so Anna wants to know now. She says, what is the marriage asteroid, Lotus? Right. So you're going to go to the asterisk here with the plus sign.
Okay.
And that's what the marriage asteroid is. So tomorrow we're going to look at marriage asteroids. We're going to look at 7th house. We're going to look at love. You're going to ask me questions about love and how you identify love in a chart. Unless someone else has a different focus that you'd really like to do, I was thinking love would be something we haven't really dove into yet. So I think everyone seems good about that. Yep. I hear yeses going all around. Okay. And so, yeah, Libra, Gemini. Here. Yeah. Any questions about this, BB? Or Coach, either one of you.
¿Vas a preguntar? No, yeah.
Where were you 33 years ago?
Yeah, right? I know. I know. I love doing couples readings. They're
Hey, I think I know exactly what I'm gonna get into.
oh
Forget
yeah.
everything else. We're gonna do readings.
Yeah, you and BB. You and BB could be my first married couple doing readings, huh? Oh my God, you'd be
We
so
don't get together with all the attorneys
yeah,
and we don't make sure. How do you know he's the right one for you?
that's
Come,
so
let me
true.
read you a chart.
That's right. That's very true. No, it's very,
what-
very true.
You see, that's the Virgo in me coming out already.
This is great. This is great. So,
I
and
have a question from
yeah,
what you just said here.
yes,
So if one person has, let's say the woman has the moon in Virgo and the man has the sun in Virgo, is that compatible? Because I that part I didn't get.
yes.
It is? But
Yes.
isn't there like the sun is fire and the other is water and the sun wants to shine and the moon is so emotional? Wouldn't that be a little bit challenging to
Isn't
say?
that what men and women are? Yes, we are by our very natures completely opposite from men. Yes, and so that is why having the sun or moon in either the same sign or the opposite sign from each other is very powerful because it just matches what we already are. Right? It's already, we're already fire and water. Right? We help men to cool off all that fire. Or it just depends on our makeup. Some men are very watery and some women are very fiery. So but we tend to be opposite, one way or the other.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, sun is hot and moon, yeah, totally. Totally. And I think that's what we go through in relationships is with the opposite gender, the opposite sex is learning how to collaborate and connect across this divide of so many differences, right? So many differences. So, okay. So Liz Sama, I know I missed you last night, so I don't want to miss your chart tonight. And it's getting very late, so we'll just do a little question and answer. Liz, do you have any questions? I know I didn't let you talk last time.
No, it's okay. Well, we were looking at today the purposes in life, but we said we were
Yes.
gonna go over that tomorrow. I was wondering, I'm at the point, I'm old already also, and I'm wanting to change my career as well, but I still can't find that passion. I don't know. I enjoy helping people. I like to help. I actually graduated with a psychology degree.
Mhm.
Because I have always wanted to help. I started with wanting to help children
Mhm.
a lot because that is our future.
Yes.
But then I kind of am a little bit scared with today's kids, how society's going. So then I went to maybe helping, maybe therapy, counseling, but I'm right now not sure what are my weaknesses, because I remember last time we spoke, you said it was leadership and something else like that that I was hearing. So I was just wondering, where can I find that
Yeah.
prosperity and what
Yeah.
are my challenges? Any weaknesses? Can I see that as well in my chart?
Of course. Yeah. Perfect. Awesome question.
Sorry,
And
that was a lot of questions.
no, that was it all kind of boils down to one thing, which is where do we start?
Yes.
And so with you in this instance, the first thing I'm drawn to is your destiny point.
Right.
And you were saying I felt drawn to working with children.
Yes.
And so your destiny point is in the house of children.
Okay.
So it's kind of like encouragement to you. It's also romance, it's hobbies.
Yes.
It's joyful energy. It's like Leo energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the sign of Cancer, which
Yes.
is the mom. And so you're like this incredible nurturer for children. You know, they come to you and they just feel all this love, just
Yes.
huge amounts of love. Like you just have so much love to give to them. You also have your moon in the 11th house in Capricorn, which is the world, and Capricorn is business, but you're not here to be a businesswoman. And I think that's been your confusion, because your past self was a business person, was like a father energy, was like structure. And by past self, I generally mean past life.
Yes.
You were very controlled, very disciplined, very success oriented, but you didn't have time and space to develop your emotion. And so this lifetime, your destiny is in the sign of emotion
Yeah.
and feeling, which for the energy of Capricorn can feel incredibly destabilizing and scary. Like, what do you mean just flow? What do you mean just feel? How is that a career? Right? But I would guess that your destiny is to be someone who helps with other people's emotions. All right, to just be there, like to value what you give with just your emotions, to value what your love is.
I feel like my emotions are like everywhere
Huh?
at this time. And I don't know if it's with the retrograde that we just went through, but yeah, it's like now I feel like my emotions are like,
Okay.
I'm trying to control them because I
So,
feel like they're out of it. Crazy.
yeah. So one thing that's happening is that Pluto, which is not an easy planet, right?
Mhm.
It's Scorpio's planet. It's depth and intensity and secrets and buried things, is literally right near your moon right now, which is emotion. And so this, and this happened to me too, because Pluto's in my 4th house of the home, and I was like, holy crap, like this is intense emotion. What's going on? And so what Pluto is like a big stone that just plopped down into your emotional field. And there was some dark stuff in your emotional field that's being brought to the surface.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So I would recommend that you find an energy healer, either me or someone else who does energy work, to establish and identify what is being brought up, because it might just be so big and so deep that it's hard. It's hard. It might not be your own emotions about your life right now. It might be something within you that's been buried for lifetimes that is triggered because you're wanting to step forward into your path and your purpose on deeper and more profound levels. Right? And so finding someone to support you with that depth of who you are so that you can step into what you're here for.
Yeah.
And to not see your emotions as negative anymore.
I do see them as negative. I feel as it's a weakness.
Right. Right.
Yes.
And that's what Capricorn does. Capricorn, which is the karmic past, says
Mhm.
all emotion is weakness.
Right.
It says the mother is weakness. It says, the home is weakness, that the only thing that's really valuable is our career. The only thing that's really valuable is what we do out in the world.
Mhm.
But yours is in the house of fun and children, and the sign of the home and the mother. Okay, so, and it's also, just enjoyment. It's your hobbies. So I would write a list of what you love to do,
Okay.
and maybe every day try and value what you love more, as opposed to putting it down, because what's happening is you're putting down who you are. It's like who your soul wants you to be. You're sort of like putting it down and putting it down and putting it down. That's not okay. I'm not allowed to feel that way. I can't have that. And so that's causing you to be in this like resistance and struggle with yourself.
Yes.
And it
Definitely.
hurts, right? It's
Yeah.
painful.
It is. Just talking about it makes me a little emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're beautiful, and you're allowed to have your feelings. And for how many thousands of years have our feelings been put down as not important? You can't have them. Just, be quiet and don't cry.
Yeah.
And yet if we bottle them up, we explode like a volcano. Right?
I've been told I have a temper too. A
Yeah.
strong one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
strong one.
You've got Mars in a fire sign. So, and I do too. I have Mars in Sag, so I can relate.
Yeah.
I can relate. So, the thing is that Mars in Sagittarius is travel. It's freedom. If you
Yes.
feel hedged in, if you feel confined, you're gonna get angry. And so
Mhm.
what you need is freedom. You need something that you can be free to do that allows you to share your gifts, because you're gonna shine as you share your gifts, and allows you to have a home and to connect with a childlike energy of your emotion. And this Capricorn South Node has just been keeping you stuck, right? Capricorn is stuckness. It's like it's very rigid,
Mhm.
very controlling, it's very structural, and it's your past life self has just been like telling you you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do that. It can be stubborn, yes, coach. Good night, OD. Much love. We'll see you tomorrow. You're so welcome. Yay. I hope you rest well. I know you're up late where you are. Yeah, big love. Big love. We'll make sure all your questions get answered, hopefully. You're the best too. Love to the familia. See. So the advice, Liz, is that you don't have to be this old way anymore. You don't have to be rigid, right? And can you allow your family in a little more? Can you allow your brother in a little more to support you? And he's got a lot of things that you might really love that he's up to.
Yes. Yeah.
And I really feel that the more you let yourself feel what you're feeling, and everyone, and ask BB, ask Gio to give you permission to just feel a bit for a while, that you're gonna be okay. Like you're gonna know what to do. It's just that there's been all this suppression on your feelings for maybe lifetimes.
Yes.
Like maybe lifetimes.
Wow.
So you
Yeah.
might even need to like go beat up a pillow and be like, I'm done with this, and like get it out. Right? Get it out, whatever you need to get out. And you have Ophiuchus Sun conjunct your midheaven. Well,
Mhm.
you have a lot of powerful energy in you. Like when I see Sun and Ophiuchus, I see that you already know a lot that is just in you. Like you already are talented and gifted. Okay, good night, beautiful friend. Rest well. See you soon. Tomorrow night will be fun about love. So you already know so much, right? And so Capricorn's always getting you to go out there and master and do more and learn more and grow and learn, and yet you don't have to do that. Like you already know it, I'm hearing.
Mhm.
So that's why the destiny is about home and family and fun and emotion. So
Yes.
whoa, wait, like this totally derails what your mind has been trying to get you to do. And it's like you have to unhook out of that spiral that tells you I have to go out and get this job and be very successful. Okay, how can I do what I love? So it's like you're going the wrong way first. You're trying to make the success happen as opposed to starting with what you love and then letting that guide you towards success, right?
Okay.
And it's
Yes.
opposite. It's opposite than where you've been going. And so that's why you haven't been getting the right place. Because it's what you love that will be the magnet to attract to you that which you desire. It's from the love first.
Yes.
And
So can I ask you a question, Lotus?
yeah, go
On
ahead.
that portion that you were talking about where she could grab the pillow and just kind of like let it go. Is that kind of like saying giving herself permission to do so?
Yes,
Okay.
to let it out. It's like she's been holding in just too much Like I'm seeing like a cork, you know? And that's why it bursts out of her sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's just been, she's not letting it just come out when she chooses. So what happens is then we get triggered and then it bursts out of us and you're like, whoa, that was like a thunderstorm. People got hurt, right? There was lightning flashes. Like
Yes.
that is what happens when the divine feminine energy doesn't allow itself to be naturally expressive.
Yeah.
That's when the rain gets held back for too many cycles.
Yeah.
So what you can encourage with your sister is to allow her and encourage her every day to talk about, well, how are you feeling now? What's coming up for you? And help her practice learning how to talk about her feelings. She might not, it might feel really awkward at first. Might feel awkward for you too. Might have
You know
been.
what's funny, that week, that Thursday before Dream Weekend, we had a conversation, we met.
Yeah.
So we kind of had something similar to that, what you're saying.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. I
Yeah.
see you two being able to really support each other because her sun is 5 degrees Ophiuchus. And so it's conjunct your ascendant, coach, which is your identity. So she shines a strong light on you and who you are.
Mhm.
So she really supports you in being who you are. And she also has her Jupiter conjunct BB conjunct your moon. So she helps you to expand how you feel emotionally. So she's it's like families fit together.
Yes.
Like, there's ways that we connect usually.
We are our own little Rubik's Cube.
That's right. Yeah, and then all the other Rubik's cubes, we fit together in a certain way. It's my mom would say, she says, we're like diamonds. Like we're each like multifaceted diamonds. And then everyone else is too. And our facets connect to other people's facets in different ways. Each of us. That's why it's so interesting to come together because so many more of our facets get activated in that moment of the group coming together. Right? And so, learning how to work with that energy is a lot of fun. Now, the other thing is that your Mercury is in Scorpio, and so that can be secrets. That can be the need to feel like you need to hide. It doesn't like to just share what you're like. You really need to feel super safe, super comfortable, and want to talk about it. And so there's a tendency for you to just really bury stuff deep down and not tell anyone anything at all. And that is where the volcano starts. And so learning how to have confidence. You don't have to tell everyone everything. Don't do that. But have those people in your life once a week, twice a week, where you can just sit down and have a deep conversation. You need that. You need that. There's a lot in you that it's like when you have this much power, that's what I'm getting from my source, that you have so much power. You have to learn how to marshal it, not control it, not suppress it, not confine it, but marshal it so that it can flow, because the feminine flows. It's not right. You're leaving behind the structure masculine vibe, rigid, and you're moving into the feminine flow. And that's new for you. So, you can ask Bibi, you can ask your brother, hey, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do I feel more? Because your brother has his moon in Pisces. So he feels things. Moon in Pisces is very intuitive, sensitive. Now, you might not know this about your brother, but he has a very intuitive, sensitive side. You know.
Mhm.
And Phoebe has a very caring heart because she has Moon in Virgo. So she's a very caring heart. They both are. They both have very caring hearts. So
Mhm.
they will always be there for you. And I think
That-
maybe they've just been wanting you to trust them more.
Yeah. I literally spoke with my mom maybe a week ago, and I couldn't hold it, and I shared everything with her, and then I felt ashamed after I expressed myself, because I told her almost everything from when it started to now. And then I came over to see her after a few days, and I'm like, I'm really sorry I poured that out. And she was like, yeah, you kind of threw like a bomb to us. It was like, and I was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, yeah, we had to absorb everything. She's like, but you could have come to us and told us little by little. And I was like, oh, because I'm afraid of being judged as well. I know we're not perfect, but it's parents, and I just don't like to have that. Oh, their daughter's going through a few things, they can't sleep. I have a child, so I would know if he comes to me sad and that, it's like it'll break my heart. So I feel like I want to kind of alleviate that pain, but then I couldn't hold it, and I just like threw that whole bomb at them. So I'm like, oh my goodness, why did I do that? You know? So I
That,
understand when you said about that volcano. I do that. Like I'm like, I
that's
threw that.
Scorpio is plutonic power. It's like you're so
Yes.
powerful, right?
Yeah.
So if yeah. So it's just a matter of being able to let some of that off a step by step, finding a therapist, a confidant, someone in your life that you can go to every week because you're so deep. You're
Yeah.
such a deep well. You need to give that a voice and be able to work in those waters because
Mhm.
otherwise it's gonna explode, and then people who aren't as deep as you are gonna freak out.
Yeah.
They're gonna freak out because they can't handle that level of depth.
Yeah.
But you can, and so that makes you potentially down the road a very good therapist,
Mhm.
a very good at helping other people through intensity, very good at handling crises
Yeah.
other people are going through. But it's about stabilizing your emotions, not shutting them down.
Okay.
You've got a lot of power. You just gotta get it like the ocean, right? The ocean can be beautiful or it can friggin' destroy ships, okay?
Yeah.
So noticing when your energy gets so strong that it could take down some ships and try and balance it. Try and go to the ocean. That's a good place for you. Go to the ocean and throw some sand or kick some rocks or like get it out
Okay.
and then go talk to someone because you are so powerful. And I know it's so challenging when we are so powerful and we just want to be heard.
Yes.
We have to find the people who can hear us. Otherwise, we might wipe out a village. Right?
I think that's where it comes with my love life. I've had a few that they're like, "Ugh, she's so intense," and then I'm like, because I express myself strongly, and then I
Yes.
think that scare them away, or
Huh?
they feel intimidated.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
that's what
bet they
comes
do.
with.
Yeah. Men cannot handle the Kali aspect of the divine feminine, and the Kali aspect is the destroyer. It's the dead.
Yes.
And I don't blame them, but it's about you getting down into the emotion of where that pain is coming from. Where did you not get the love you needed? Where did you not get the support you needed? It's probably inner child. It's probably that little girl inside you who needs that mama love. But my guess is that your mama may not be able to give you the type of mama love you really need. And so finding other mama energy in your life, whether that's a therapist or a friend or, even your brother and his beautiful wife here, your sister-in-law, right? Finding people who can help nurture you because my sense with Moon conjunct in Capricorn is that mama wasn't as much of a nurturing force for you as you needed. Whatever that may mean. Maybe she had to work. Maybe you were like, you need to be disciplined. I don't know. But my guess is that you need more nurturing in your life. Your destiny point is in the sign of the mother. You're here to be a mothering influence. So for you to become that, you need more mother energy around you. You need to be held, you need to be rocked. And you can do this. You can visualize your inner child and you can hold her and you can rock her and you can love her. Because that's what she needs. That's
Thank
what
you
she,
very much.
yeah,
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
yeah. I hear you. I see you. I see how much potential you have,
Mhm.
how much love and how much energy. And there's just some places and spaces in your field that just need some more love at your core
Mhm.
because they keep coming up as pain. And then it's like a wounded animal, right? And then it's like you get mad at the people around you who touched the wound and they don't know what they did. And you
Yeah.
didn't know what they did either because you didn't know it was there. Okay, and
Yeah.
it's just about love. It's just about love. It's about loving each other and acknowledging we all have some wounding. Okay?
Yeah.
And to know that when we act out with each other, it's just the wounding. It's not anything else. It means nothing about our real feelings for each other. Because we're all love with each other, really, at the core.
Yeah.
The root is love. And it's about allowing your pure love and light to grow stronger and brighter than the places of darkness, the places of no light, the places of pain. So that love, that pure love and light begins to flow into all those spaces and places that have needed it. Okay, and so you love each other. You're here to support each other. You chose each other as a family.
Mhm.
So the more you acknowledge that and support that and appreciate that, the more love will flow in for all of you. Yeah. You got this. It's just your horses have been running here and they've been running here and you've been left without horses and in the mud and wondering where to go. And it's just about knowing which horse you were using the wrong horses. They were going the wrong direction and you didn't know what was happening and it was throwing you off the wagon. And you were like, help, but I don't know who to ask for help, but because you have to know in you for the universe to bring you the right support. There's so many moments where I've been like, why is nobody here to help me? And then I realize it's like, because I'm not in the vibration to receive the help.
Right.
Wow. Holy crap. Whoa. Oh my God.
Yeah. I feel like this time I am seeking for that. I've been told I know a lot. I've been told a lot of people that I have an energy very strong. I've been told that I may not look, but I do know too much. It's just
Yep.
me unleashing it and opening it.
Mhm.
But I have it there. It's just finding it. And I've had people tell me you have it when the universe wants, it starts coming and pouring. So keep your eyes open. So I'm doing that this time around.
Right.
Definitely. Yes.
That's right. You're
So, yeah.
beautiful. You've got everything that it takes. You just need to allow the old things to go.
Yeah. That's what I'm working on. I need to let go. And it's been hard.
Or just
Mainly.
And to believe in herself.
But yeah,
Mhm.
that's
You've got this. You've so got this. I see it. I see you.
yes.
It's
Thank
just that
you.
our world hasn't been taught to see you, but I see you.
Thank you.
Yeah. My pleasure. Absolute pleasure. It's what I live for. Getting to be a mirror for you all.
Definitely.
Beautiful. You're beautiful. You all are in your own beautiful, unique ways. That's one thing I learned. It's like all of you are so exquisite. Like every flower, every blossom, every tree. None of us are the same, but we're all so beautiful in the way that we are, just like the fingerprint or the snowflake. We're perfect just the way that we are. And all we're doing is letting go of all the garbage and pollution and illusion on top of what we already naturally are, just like a flower or a tree or a plant is perfect, right? It's perfect. We are as well. We're born completely perfect. And it's only the thoughts that tell us, oh, we have to be this, we have to be that. But underneath it, we're just pure beingness. We're just pure love, pure light. And it's the peeling away of all those layers that allows us, oh, hi, Anna, that allows us to be who we are. Yeah, so whoever you are, wherever you are, please take tonight to be guidance and a reminder that you're perfect, that you're beautiful, that you have what it takes, and that you can do it to the extent that you trust in yourself. That you remember who you are and you peel off all these layers. We are special, coach. Every single person. Every single person. So what I'd like to do is just invite you all to rub your hands together. So let's just do a little clearing of any energy. Anyone watching, you can join in. And so anything that's been brought up or let down tonight, we talked about a lot of stuff, didn't we? There's a lot of energy flying through the group, a lot of awarenesses. And just go ahead and put anything or everything that is not yours, that does not belong to you, that just isn't serving you anymore, into your hands. Put it into your hands. Let it come out of your body. Let it come out of your energy field. Let it come out of the field. And take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. Anything and everything preventing you from knowing that you have what it takes, that you're perfect just as you are, and that yes, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Anything preventing that, super conscious, please tag and treat all the fears and doubts and anxieties preventing this, and do a complete change history, levels 1, 2, and 3 in the highest and best order. In the highest and best way. Please tag and treat any entities. Please tag and treat any of the emotions, thoughts, or feelings of these entities. And please treat the front of the chakras and the back of the chakras. Okay. We ask for a complete unconditional love healing. Through all levels and layers. Through all directions of time and space. Thank you. Thank you. It's done. It's done. It's done. By the power of God, it is commanded. Anything and everything preventing you from knowing that you have what it takes, knowing that you can do it, and knowing that you're perfect exactly as you are, anything and everything that brings up or lets down, will you please now revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all? Just say yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds, by the power of God. Just command all that stuff be released and cleared and pulled out of the core, genetic, and soul level, pulled and resolved on the historical level. Deep breath in. Hands up. Let it go. Let it release out of you. And be replaced on all levels with the Creator's truth, definition of pure, divine, unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness, peace and calm, happiness, love, and joy. Good, deep breath in. And just tag and treat superconscious any last layers or levels remaining, levels 1, 2, and 3. And everything is needed. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. It is done, it is done. We ask the superconscious to please treat the front chakras, the back chakras, the dantians, the meridians. Oh. We ask for complete unconditional love healing, superconscious through all levels and layers, through all directions of time and space. And please now place everyone upon a golden path. Each step going forwards now is a golden path. God, please give everyone the divine spiritual gifts that you need right now to enable you to know that you're on the right path, that you can do this, that you are pure love and pure light. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. It is done. It is done. It is done. Show us. And take a nice deep breath in. And a nice deep breath out. And just feel yourself connecting back to Mother Earth. And just set a prayer and intention at your heart, tuning into your divine perfection, that you are just perfect as you are, that you can do this, you can do whatever it takes, and that you can truly live the life you wish. And anything and everything blocking that or preventing that from this lifetime or any other, we now revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all, please. Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, covids, and beyond. Take a deep breath in and out. Woo! Woo, woo. Thank you, God. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, Great Spirit. May all beings on this earth be happy, be healthy, be free to live the most joyous, beautiful life we be. Feel that prayer, big and beautiful and glowing in your heart. And then exhale, shower it out. Blessing the whole earth. Blessing the whole earth with that bounty and that love. Feel that expansion, that connection. And go forth and just have the most beautiful night. Integrating all these shifts and changes. Y'all felt that, right? Yeah. Good shifts. Feeling more calm. Here, rub your chest a little here. Yeah, get that energy to move. You might yawn a little bit. And brush over the top of your head. Brush down your arms, your legs. There you go. And just integrating all that energy in. And wishing you all a beautiful night. A bright light, a bright night. May all of your beautiful dreams come true. And may all this love that we feel and share be like a big ripple of love and light across this beautiful earth for all beings, always. So much love to you all. Oh, there's so much love here. I wish you all a restful night. And I look forward tomorrow to us having a wonderful class about love and how you can use the chart to learn more about loving ourselves and compatibility. Yeah, coach?
Hey, like that song, what's love got to do with it?
That's right. It's the second-hand emotion. What's love got to do? Got to do. That's right. Everything. Who needs a heart when everything. Yeah, beautiful. Oh, what a great, beautiful group of people. I love you. I love you all. So much love. And I look forward. I hope
Thank
you have a
you.
great night. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. See
Yeah.
you tomorrow.
Yeah. Drink lots of water. Energy
Yeah.
moved. Have a snack, something salty, something sweet. And I look forward to our finale tomorrow. And get your questions ready, okay?
Yep.
Okay.